Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Yeah, no, it was a jailbreak up the A gaps. You like that, Evan?
Probably more geared to Evan because I know you watched the film. Mike,
I did grind it again yesterday.
did you
Paul.
grind it
Thank
again?
very much.
Okay, so you know what?
grounded it hard.
I'll open it to you,
Ground
Mike.
it up.
Good for you.
Now, did you get announced when you walked into the arena?
The
Nobility travels.
1999
Nobility.
MAC champion Mike DeSalt.
The thing that you've been most impressed about with Brissett through the 5 games.
Toughness.
Right, so that's perfect. Finally, I asked an
Did I
open-ended
walk
question,
right in?
and he got it right.
I always get scared when you ask me a question like, what road are you trying to walk me down, Paul? I'm not going to Mount Cooks with
No,
you.
you bring high comedy, generally.
Paul.
You know, like when you insist that Christian Ellis didn't interfere with that guy.
I thought the ball was whizzing by. I thought it was well timed.
You know, it's high comedy. It's like 8 yards short of the first down.
I mean, he didn't have to tackle him afterwards, but
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
all right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Wednesday here at Gillette Stadium, and never a dull moment, huh, Paul?
It's a busy Wednesday.
Busy Wednesday. We're going to talk all about it. Of course, the main headline is Evan's not here. No, I'm only kidding. The main headline is Drake Maye era has begun.
I'm going to bow to you, Mr. Curtis.
This is
Just hey,
breaking
listen,
news.
a blind squirrel.
Sunday,
A
after-
blind squirrel finds a nut every once in
Sunday
a while.
post game, and then yesterday for PU, you were on this. You
Yeah.
thought that all the signs were coming. Obviously, we all knew it was coming sooner or later, but
Yeah.
you nailed when it was coming. I thought it would be another week.
Yeah. Well, listen, I thought it was going to be week one, so I'm
Well,
off by 6 weeks.
I was
but,
hoping for week
yeah.
one,
But you know, listen, I'm excited, anxious, nervous. I can only imagine how he must feel. I can only imagine how the coaches must feel. Because
I don't know how you can't feel excitement at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about nervous or anything like that, but you took a guy, 3rd overall, you're going to get a chance to watch him play for the first time. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
No, it is exciting, but like I said, there is some, to me, some anxiousness and nervousness to it. You don't know how he's going to play. You don't know
No,
how the
absolutely.
line's going to perform. So there's a lot of unknowns here. But I think it's the right time. Like, if I thought week one was the right time, then I certainly think this is the right time. I know that everybody's out there, how can they do this? It's the Texans, blah, blah, blah,
I
blah,
was
blah.
joking with Mike about it. It's like for about at least 2 or 3 weeks, it's been like, what are they waiting for? Like, let's go. Finally, he's gonna play.
Not
And then-
now.
And then,
Right.
then he gets named the starter, and everybody's like, what are they doing? I
Right.
thought they had a plan. Like,
Well, and that's you bring up the plan. Could the plan have simply been, we're going to, develop as much we can. When we think he's ready, we're going to put him in. And maybe, then the plan hits the fact that this offense just looks abysmal. And Gerard finally said after the Dolphins game, I mean, I've seen enough. Put him in. It could be that simple.
And
Everyone's looking for all this nefarious stuff, like, marketing called down and said we have to sell more. It's like it could be just simply they were waiting for when he's ready, and Gerard finally had seen enough and just said, okay, let's put him in. This offense is abysmal. It can't be any
I
worse.
think it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
I think they just felt like they needed to try to do
let's just
something to
get him in.
jumpstart the offense.
Let's
Right.
just get him in.
Right. I mean, what makes sense when you go in? I mean, that's like, are you going to say, well, we're going to start in week 6? Like, we all know how quickly this league changes. And,
Right.
I think we said it before the season started where it was like, all right, everything's great right now. Like, Gerard, Elliott, no one's had any kind of tough times or controversies or anything. This was all a fresh new staff. And, all of a sudden here we are 5 weeks later. And, one of the questions in the press conference we just came from with Gerard was like, was this the plan? I'm like, well, I would assume that the plan was to be a little flexible. Like, it doesn't have to be this is the week we're doing
whatever
it.
the plan was, it had to be open-ended.
Yeah.
Let's look at the other side. What if the Patriots were 6-0 now or 5-0?
Yeah.
And Jacoby Brissett was playing well.
That's the plan. We got to put him in right now. That's
The plan has to be flexible. I mean,
I love the Fred optimism. They've played 5 games. What if they were 6-0?
but like you get my point.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
absolutely.
Think, I was talking to
Absolutely.
somebody today. You're building a house and or renovating your house and you have a plan for when it's going to be finished, and you tear down a wall and there's asbestos. Well, all of a sudden the plan has changed.
Right.
Now I'm in, so like,
Yeah.
That turned to a dark
I
place.
know, right.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of
course.
Absolutely.
it has to be open end. You're talking about human beings, not chess pieces.
Yeah, and I think
And a lot of these, bobos out there who thinks that they're general managers. Which if they were so good at it, I don't know why they're doing what they're doing.
Leave the media bashing.
and they're not
leave it to the
and they're
professionals.
not making the money being a general manager. Like, you're dealing with humans.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
dealing with chess pieces.
I agree, and I think it's really as simple. And there's a couple of things that we said yesterday, and I still agree with. But to me, this was all about when Drake Maye was ready.
Yeah.
So short of being 5-0 or something like that, it doesn't really matter. With the fact that the offense was bad, to me, doesn't really accelerate it in my mind. And only they know the answer to that, the true, honest answer. Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, all the offensive staff that Mayo said he met with, they were all on board. Elliott Wolf, they're the only ones that know honestly how they feel. I feel like they feel that Maye is ready, and even if the offense
He's ready enough.
I heard a lot of people, including Zoe, on the call. Before the Polk touchdown got overturned, Brissett may have just saved his job. I don't think so.
Yeah.
If that's a touchdown and they were this close to making the move, I think the move would have been made anyway.
I do too. And ready.
Hold on here. Mike
No,
is
it's all
Mike's
right.
chomping.
I have something. No,
I can tell.
I just
you had
wanted
that
to
look.
point. No, you point that out. I think now that we have this eye line, you sometimes catch me. But no, I just think the sustainability thing from last week when Mayo said that.
Fred was all over it.
Yeah.
That was Fred's. Fred
Yeah.
took that out of the press conference. I gave him credit for that last week. He thought I was mocking him, and I really wasn't. I've used it several times since to sort of indicate this, I think, was coming.
Yeah.
And then Fred was even stronger in the post-game show Sunday. I gave him a little bow because he nailed it. On Sunday, he said this was the week it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I did. The one thing that I keep pushing back on, and I keep saying the same thing. You want to be patient? That's fine. You want to start him week 1? That's fine. The only thing I completely rejected as out of hand is you can't play him against this defense.
Yeah.
Or that defense. Or
Right.
why didn't they play against Miami?
The
why?
weather's not going to be good that weekend. We can't do that weekend.
Why is it? First
like-
of all, the NFL
like-
is hard.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
there's tough games. And I understand Miami's defense and Jacksonville's defense. Neither one of them is what you would consider a great defense. Houston's is. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's great. It's pretty good. Right. So what are we gonna do? Just pick and choose? Well, this team's not in. This isn't college. We can't play him on homecoming against the 1AA team. We don't
Right.
have that
Yeah.
luxury.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, it's when you think he's ready, you play him. So if he had beaten Miami last week, and then things didn't go well against Houston because Houston's a better team this week, would you feel better or worse?
I'd feel.
I feel exactly the same.
Well, I'd feel better that they had started the process a week early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right. No,
yeah,
but I mean,
right.
just in terms of his
Yeah.
performance,
Yeah.
let's just say for argument's sake, he beat Miami, lost to Houston, and now they're going to do it this way, and they're going to lose to Houston and beat Jacksonville. Just hypothetically.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Who cares? His first game didn't go so well, so oh my God, the sky is falling.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the only part of
and-
the criticism I don't understand.
If you're worried about him, getting, extreme pressure from Houston, it would happen if you
Yeah.
start him in Miami, he's going to still get extreme pressure in Houston.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Right.
Nothing changes.
Nothing
He's gonna play-
changes.
he'd be better because it would be his second game.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
right.
Listen,
Okay.
We can say he's as ready as he can be, but probably, and I don't even. The number is above 50% of things he's not going to be ready for until he sees them the first
I like
time.
some of the things he said too. We got a chance to listen, Mike. I
Yeah.
know you
Yep.
were there,
Yep,
and I'm
yep.
curious to get your thoughts on it. But some of the comments he made about wanting to make sure kept his feet, didn't
Yeah.
escape the pocket too
Staying
quick,
on time.
staying on time, not looking for off-platform stuff, just
Yep.
playing football and let that happen if it
Yeah.
happens. But I think he's thinking about the process,
Yeah.
making sure he's
Oh,
running the
and
offense.
He's going to look bad at times. I
Yeah.
can guarantee it.
For sure.
I can guarantee it.
But
And
I-
like I said, most of what he's going to see out there, he's never experienced before at that speed. And it's going to be the first time, but he's going to get it under his belt, and he's going to build on it. And if he has a horrible game against the Texans, then I hope they go back in the film room and they look at it constructively and here's what you could have done better. Here's what you need to improve on. And then we go to Jacksonville. And that's the process.
Yeah.
That's the process. It's not the end of the world if he looks terrible again in this game.
Well, I was thinking back to, I mean, I don't want to compare to Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's first start was against the Colts, right? And Peyton Manning.
Yep.
C.J. Stroud and the Texans probably going to be around for a while. And if you want to be an AFC team, and I'm not saying that, this is a proving ground kind of thing, but you're getting him to face a team that down the road you'd love to say, this is a team you might have to see in the playoffs. This is, DeMeco Ryans. This defense that he's running right now, you're going to get a little taste of it right now. So I think that's a little bit of a little bit of aligning too. And I know it's a long ways out and you're, projecting positively, but this is a good team. I want to see him against a good team.
Isn't that the idea?
Yeah.
To think okay, we have a 3rd overall pick. We want this guy to be our franchise quarterback. It's not going to hurt him to get some experience against a team that very well could be a part of the AFC picture for the next 5 years.
Yep.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
What's wrong with
What's
that?
wrong with that? And, the whole thing about, he gives us the best chance to win. I don't even care about that. I know Gerard said that, and that's why he's in. And, you kind of have to say that because it's a meritocracy and, you put the players in that gives you the. But, whether they win or lose, right now, to me, is irrelevant. It's how he plays and how the team plays around him. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not. It'd be great if they win.
You know what? We have all kinds of things that we do content-wise.
Yeah.
We need a lipstick camera on Fred Sunday. Fred's going to ride the roller coaster on Sunday.
I'm going to be a mess.
I'm probably
going to be a mess. It'll be like my son's out there, and I'm watching him play.
I felt similarly listening to him talk, and he came out and. It's just like, oh God, please let this be the guy. That was just the feeling of he's a good kid.
He's a good kid.
He commands the room. He's got a presence about him. He's just extremely likable. And Gerard talked about all the athletic talent he has. And I just think, and we were pulling for Mac too. I was pulling for Mac too, but
I would say the
here
same
we go
thing
again.
about Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
You watched him, and he is and I call them kids because they're so much younger than me. He's a good kid too. You could tell. There's a difference with some of these guys. You can just tell, there are people, Brissett, Maye, there are people you wanted to root for.
Yeah.
You could just kind of feel it.
Right.
They're
team guys. They're nice guys.
Mac, not so much.
Well, the people got rubbed the wrong way with him right from the start. I wasn't one of them because I was looking through rose-colored glasses. I'll admit, I wanted to only see the best in him, but. People said right from the start, he was a little abrasive and a little bit,
Yeah, and that, that's not why, if he played good quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is abrasive.
Right.
And I don't like him, but I recognize that he's a great quarterback. You know? If
but
Mac Jones panned out, I would say
I doubt Aaron Rodgers. I doubt
good.
Aaron Rodgers was like that the first year he's with the Packers, sitting on the bench with Favre.
Well, knowing him.
Maybe he was.
I could do that.
Yeah,
he was probably telling.
He's all right.
Let me show. Dirk Diggler. Let me show you what you did wrong.
So that's the big news today.
Huge.
The other news that broke today: Jabril Peppers put on the commissioner's exempt list. So
that's good.
Which is really good for the team because now it just gives you some time.
Yeah,
He can't practice. He can't play.
It takes it out of your hands, and now we'll let the process take its course.
I thought Gerard, I give him credit for coming out and leading with that. Everybody's here really to talk about Drake Maye, and I think for Gerard to come out strong against just domestic violence. I have daughters, all those kind of things that he led with. I thought it sent a good message.
And he also said that Peppers is not expected to be in the building in the near term. I think is the term he used was near term. Yeah. Right. I get that right.
Near future.
Okay. Well, we'll see. This process. So that's behind us in terms of how it affects the team in the field. Obviously, it's a negative. You've lost Duggar. Now you've lost Peppers.
Yeah, that's fun to watch.
And this once probably.
Yeah. See what Duggar can do. Maybe Duggar, when Evan comes back from practice, we'll see if Duggar was able to do anything today.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a loss on the field with Peppers, but with Mapu coming back and last week with Del Pettis getting a little bit of experience,
I know,
and
that's
you'll
good.
be able to make do.
So you can look at it that way, but it's the domino effect. The two best guys are out, so yes, people need to step up, but they weren't as good as those two guys, and so every time somebody in front goes out, you get a little bit less.
Absolutely,
you got to get Duggar back. You got to get Duggar back. It's as much as I was impressed with Mapu's workload, like he is the guy that you need out there. So hopefully he's out there when Evan comes there at the locker room now.
Big test for Brian Belichick to get these guys coached up.
Jalen Hawkins too. I mean, they have some depth there. This is, as much as Peppers was a captain and an impact player, I think that they at least have some pieces where it's not going right to Del Pettis. If you had to go right to the undrafted rookie, it's a little bit more
I did
strange.
think that was Hawkins' best game. I thought he made a number of sure tackles that prevented big plays.
Yeah, big hit. Yeah,
he was kind of like the safety, the last line of defense, and he was sure tackle.
I think he was the one who concussed the running back.
Oh,
yeah. He came flying over. Hard lick.
That wasn't one of the ones I was talking about because that was.
So the Paul curse hit Houston a little bit. We got some news. We got some news that their wide receiver isn't going to be playing with the hamstring.
Yeah, 67-yard touchdown and didn't play another play in that game.
Yeah,
for Nico Collins. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
He's by far their best receiver, and he's been probably one of the best 5 receivers in football so far.
Yeah,
he's got knocking on the door 600 yards already.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
Diggs has been a problem, but they're going to need something out of Tank Dell. He's been quiet.
Disappointing, right? I've been reading a little bit that they've been. I mean, I know he got hurt last year, but that he hasn't really done much coming back off.
I think he only has 13 catches so far.
Do we have anyone with 13 catches?
All right, see.
Wow.
Sorry.
This is what happens.
Sorry,
This
no,
is what
bad.
happens.
Dark
Bad dude.
Dark Dussault.
Sorry, I'm in a good place though. I got to admit, just seeing Drake up there, I'm like, all right, I feel a little refreshed after the last week we've had. It's good to just turn the page, something new to watch this weekend for the game. I'm excited. My in-laws are going to go to their first NFL game this weekend.
Yeah,
here, so I'm like,
my niece is going. She's got a big group of people.
Yeah.
I got 12 tickets for my niece, and she gets to see Drake May's debut. So I'm
I thought
excited about that too.
This will make Paul guffaw, but Drake was like, the throwback uniforms, the home crowd, best fans in the in the league. So he was saying all the right things. He was saying the right things. I love it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to be.
He's such a goofball. I love it. He's got to be good because then we can have fun with it.
No, I mean, to Fred's point, I kind of assume, this is what my impression is that he's going to make 2 or 3, maybe 1, but 2 or 3, hopefully, plays that maybe aren't even completed, but he'll just huck it down the field. Then there's going to be probably 5 or 6 plays where you're like, Drake, don't die. He's going to get smoked because he doesn't see something coming But I'm just hoping that we see a little bit of what he talked about, playing on time, getting the ball out quick, understand, just seeing the process. We know he can throw the ball down the field, and we know there's going to be mistakes and things he misses, and DeMeco Ryans will take advantage of some things and confuse him and put some new things that they haven't shown on tape. But, is there enough plays? Are there enough plays that you say, he's playing on time. He understands what they're trying to do. He's getting the ball to the right guys at the right time. I just that's what I want to see out of him. And I don't know that we will. I know we'll see probably a couple big throws, and we'll definitely see a couple oh crap, he just got decked. But can he have those good execution plays and complete some passes?
So we don't know what we'll see. Does Houston know what they'll see? And I asked that because Devin McCourty tweeted out yesterday, why couldn't they wait? Why did they have to tell the Texans? What do you think about that?
I think it's the dumbest thing I heard yesterday, honestly. And no offense to Devin, because I didn't just hear it from Devin. There were a couple of people who were like, why didn't they wait? Well, first of all, how could they wait? Everyone's going to know. If they're going to go out there and see reps, then they'd have to do all this other subterfuge. And, is Houston really going to be like, oh, my God, it's Drake Maye, what a rookie who's never played a game. What are we going to do? I don't think it's that big of a switch going from, from a defensive standpoint. If I'm DeMeco Ryans, we're just going to do what we do. These guys can't really block. We're going to attack no matter who the quarterback is.
I mean,
sorry, rant over.
It's hard. No, I know that. And I had, a couple of people were, teasing me today. One in particular was having some fun with me. He's like, oh, does Devin not know what he's talking about either? And I'm like, no, well, can't we disagree? Without it being one guy doesn't know what he's talking about and another guy, is. I just don't think it's really done that way with quarterbacks. I think in general terms, quarterback, when you make a I know this is Carolina, everybody's going to say, well, that's why they suck. Carolina didn't say, oh, I don't know, it could be Bryce Young this week or Andy Dalton. No, they made him switch.
Yeah.
You let everybody know.
Yeah, it's not like you're, starting a safety.
Right, that's different.
The quarterback, you're going to have to now devote the entire week in practice to this guy. You got 53 guys, you got coaches, you got assistants. The news is going to get out there. if I'm a coach, I'd rather have the news come from me than from somebody else, and then have it all speculation all week. Just get it over with, you know?
Yeah. I think back, Belichick was as secretive about absolutely every element of his football team as you could be, and he didn't do it that way either. He generally announced his quarterback.
What's the most famous one? Super Bowl week. He announced Brady's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah. Now,
he could have waited.
He could have, but that one to me was more for his team. Like, there's no debate here. It's Tom.
Well, and that's what he's doing too. It's for his team.
No, I agree. I'm agreeing with you, bro. Bro, we're all on the same side.
Yeah.
No, but I just think it's one thing to say at the Super Bowl that Tom Brady's ankle is okay and he's going to play. He did it with Cam Newton every week. He said, no, Cam's the quarterback. Every week.
Yeah.
Because every week he was asked. In 2020, the offense was every bit as bad as it's been right now. And every week, no, Cam's the quarterback. Cam's the starting quarterback, right? Not Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
It's going to be Cam. He did it, and that was Belichick, who wouldn't tell you anything. Because for fear that it was giving the opponent an advantage.
And maybe one of our fans who knows, but I don't know of a situation where, a team went from, a bench, a backup to now their new starting quarterback, or reverse. The established starting quarterback is now being benched, and that was a game day decision. Yeah. Like Ben McAdoo, for example. I think when he benched Eli Manning, he announced it. He announced it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that people can come up with an example. That's why,
I don't know. Maybe
I always use the words "no one." Like absolutes, and someone always. I don't mean that it's never happened in the history of football.
Right.
I'm sure it has, and I just don't remember it. But
not exactly the same example, but Belichick told a story recently on one of his shows about Terrell Owens in Super Bowl 39, and Bill talked about, I'm talking to my doctor on the team, and he's saying, there's no way this guy's going to be able to play. And then he said they got out there, and you guys remember what he did in that game, and it was like Belichick said, we had to redo our whole game plan. That's an example, but it's not the quarterback, but an example of all of a sudden a guy is that you weren't expecting, a superstar.
But that's also a different thing. That's an injury.
Yeah.
And Bill was very secretive with injuries. And I can, I didn't agree with it, but I could completely understand that. You're leaving the other team more to prepare for. You're only preparing for one quarterback.
Yeah.
It's either going to be Brissett or it's going to be Maye. But it's the offense is all, it's not like Lamar Jackson's playing on Sunday or Tom Brady's playing, which is two entirely different, game plans.
Right.
That's my, we all know that Maye brings more athleticism to the table than Brissett, but he's going to run the same offense that you've seen hopefully better.
Right.
But he's going to run the same offense.
Now there was that game, the Wildcat game against Miami, where Miami came in and threw a loop. Yeah. They threw a curveball to the Patriots, and the Patriots were not prepared for it.
But with a game plan.
That was
Chad Pennington was the quarterback.
Right. Yeah. That was a game plan. Right.
Except when he was running out wide, and Ricky Williams and what was the other one? And Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown had
running all over him.
Ronnie Brown had 5 touchdowns that day, 4 rushing touchdowns, and he threw one.
Tony Sperano.
That
was
was unbelievable. Yeah. We were just completely stunned in the press.
It reminded me of that Alabama Vanderbilt game. They just couldn't stop it.
Because if I remember correctly, Brady tore his ACL. They went and beat the Jets the next week, and then they came back for that. Was that week 3, I think? And that was around. I want to say about that, right?
Sounds about right.
You kind of felt like
Miami was brutally bad in the first 2
games
weeks.
with names,
and the Patriots couldn't stop it. They couldn't figure it out, and they had such an experienced defense too.
It was so frustrating.
They would have been able to get it. I mean, you must have thought after that Jets game, no Brady, we're still gonna be competitive. And then all of a sudden, the defense gets exposed like that.
That was 38-13 or something like that. That game was not close.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to leave early today. I'm just warning everyone.
I'm just glad you're here to start, Fred. I was worried. We got so much going on today.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm okay with you leaving early.
Well, I finally.
This is a big show. Yeah. This is a big day.
I'm going to have to leave early.
Some people were calling for an emergency podcast last night.
Well, I told them the emergency podcast will be at noon tomorrow.
Yeah, but now you're leaving. You can't do it without our fearless leader.
Let's get to the listeners. And Evan will be by at some point, right?
Yeah.
He's in the locker room.
Yeah, they're in locker room right now. Then they're going to do practice.
So.
Yeah. So usually the last half hour or so on Wednesdays, we should.
By the way, Matt, did you get the new song? The locker back from practice locker room song.
We get the right thing so you guys can hear me.
Don't Oh, jeez.
We got a new song?
Yeah, don't play it yet. I'm just
oh.
teasing it.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I'm teasing it.
Oh.
Okay, we're getting
Echo.
feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we're back.
Okay. All right, let's go to the TPX hotline. Chris is in California. What's up, Chris? Chris.
Yes.
Hey.
Hello?
Yes.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Chris.
Okay, that's it for Chris. No, I mean, like, you got to
Hey,
be ready.
Come on.
We could hear him.
Yeah. No, you got to be ready. 855
Good job, Hardy.
Pat's-
Fred, I caught eye of calling out Mike as a subject on an email, and I feel like I may want to hear it. Maybe
Mike's
I don't.
got
I
his
don't know.
backup. I like
No,
that.
I know. Like, what's this?
What's that?
Calling out Mike. I just see an email there with
Which
a title.
one? This one?
Nah, down one, down two. There you go. Tony.
Oh.
Tony's calling me out.
Want me to read it? He says, I emailed a couple weeks ago to say my expectations for the season were low, but I did expect Maye to be playing and learning. Mike responded that I'm getting there, but not until November. And Fred responded with things about playing him early and money, which I don't understand. So my question is, what has changed so much in the 7 days since I emailed in to make such a shift in Mike and Fred's views?
That's not really calling out.
My
I'd say
views
that.
haven't changed.
No, Fred wanted him to
I
play week
wanted
one.
him to play week one.
Yeah.
I did too, but you thought he would play week one. That's where we were different.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was the last 3 games of the same exact, watching the same thing over and over again. And I mean, I said November was when I would start to get the itch, but the itch came early with watching those games unfold the way they did. It just didn't feel like it was going to get better at that point, especially with this last game. I was like,
well, and that's
this
what
is
I'm hoping
bad.
happened. Is Gerard said, "Listen, we're in mud here.
Yeah.
It's just not going to get better. He's ready enough. Put him in."
yeah,
I'm hoping that's how it went down.
Yeah, I think that's
You know?
reasonable.
sounds about right.
Let's see. Everyone's emailing in about Drake Maye as expected. Guy writes in. That's his name, Guy. It's not
Guy?
just a guy.
Good email, guy.
Guy Lafleur.
Guy Carbonneau.
Drake Maye is a talent, but my prediction, Maye will be sacked 7 to 8 times a game, if not more, and will be seriously injured in the next 5 weeks.
Oh, come on,
Well,
Guy.
Brissett wasn't. Anyway, teams are going to blitz him
That's a lot
constantly.
bigger.
Patriots are giving up 10 to 15 years of a franchise quarterback for a couple more wins this year.
Okay, so why? A lot of what he says, I do expect Maye to get sacked more than Brissett was, because I think young quarterbacks get sacked a lot.
Yeah.
But why is that sacrificing 10 or 15 years, like by playing a couple of extra games?
Because
Like again, I
maybe
want
he'll get
someone,
worn down.
This is
If-
one I
yeah.
want someone to. This is
Yeah.
a project, and I know, like Boston, the guy that on Twitter, Boston Sports Info, who is phenomenal with this stuff. And I don't know if he listens to our shows or not. I'd like an example of a young quarterback who you deemed played too soon, who suffered a career-ending injury.
Oh.
I'd like someone to give me that. Like, I'm not talking about like Anthony Richardson hurt himself and he
Right.
came back and
It
started
wasn't
the next
it
year.
wasn't career-ending.
Like a career-ending injury.
Yeah.
Right.
And the whole you guys know this. I'm a broken record. Like the whole ruined. He got ruined. He played too early. He got ruined. And there's various guys that get thrown out there. So like Mac Jones. Let's keep it as close, something that we're all familiar with, right? So Mac Jones played as a rookie in 2021, and by 2024 he was a Jacksonville Jaguar. Okay. I think they did a lot of things to hurt him. I'm not arguing that, but what did they do to hurt him that involved playing him too early?
Right.
What did you think that he was in 2021?
I think they stunted his growth in 21 by coddling him on the field.
No, but what do you
That's
think?
my
But what do
opinion.
you think that when he was playing in 21? I think most Patriots fans would say it's a pretty good rookie year.
Right.
Made the playoffs, won 10 games. He stood firm in the pocket, played not an instrumental role in a lot of wins, but he was okay as a rookie. People were saying that we got the best out of the 5.
He
in
didn't
that
throw up
rookie-
on himself.
in that
Yeah.
rookie class. So it all fell apart in year 2 and year 3 for a lot of reasons. Matt Patricia, offensive line, strife with the head coach. We all know all the things. But what specifically about playing him too soon led to the downfall of Mac Jones's Patriots career?
Right.
But yet that's gospel.
Yeah.
Right? They played him too soon, they ruined him.
Yep.
Yeah.
when the best part about him as a Patriot was
That first
the soon
year.
part.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
the best we saw of Mac Jones.
Right.
Was him playing right away. Then the league adjusted to him, and he was no longer effective.
I think it's
Then
more,
they did some things
yeah.
that didn't support him, and he was no longer affected.
I think that's what it's more a cautionary tale for. It's in year 2. Do you support the quarterback? Do you give him,
Yeah.
those take to the next level kind of pieces and give him,
Right.
not change his offense up on him, try not to
I
do that.
personally
like,
think that he's not that good, but I'm gonna make the argument for him and say he was very good, and he would have been very good for years to come if they didn't screw him up.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to. The screw him up part had nothing to do with playing too soon.
Right.
No, that was the good
Right?
part.
Right.
That was the good part.
That's
Yeah.
like the whole like Chicken Little thing. Like you can't play him. Like Mike Lombardi, by the way, who just
Well,
getting
he's
worse,
got an
getting
agenda.
worse and worse.
He's got an
yeah.
agenda.
He's getting worse and worse, like by the week. It'd be crazy to play. Be crazy to play him. Like it'd be insane. I think he called it insane if you decided to put him in. This was like 4 days ago. So. And then he starts rattling off teams. Like you got to have an offensive line. You got to protect the guy. Why do you think Jared Goff is successful in Detroit? And okay, yeah. He's got a great offensive line, and I do think Jared Goff is one of those guys that as long as you protect him, he's going to be really good. You don't protect him,
Yeah.
he can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, then he goes, well, look what's happening to Cincinnati now, because they can't protect him. They should have taken, as great as Jamar Chase is, they should have taken Penei Sewell. They'd have a left tackle, Hall of Fame left tackle. They might have a Hall of Fame
They're
receiver.
scoring
but
like 35 points a game
thank
now.
you, Fred Kirsch.
Yeah.
Like they can't get, they haven't been stopped the last 3 weeks.
Right.
Their defense has gone to hell.
Everybody got healthy, and now they're all out in the
Their
field.
defense has gone
right.
to hell, and they can't win games.
Right.
But they lost 41-38.
Right. Against
Like-
a good team.
But this is like when these guys just like they scream into the ether and people just buy it. Like
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with Cincinnati's struggles right now.
Right.
Their offense is in gear. Their defense has fallen apart.
Yep.
Like you can't play much better than Joe Burrow's played the last 3 games, and they're 1-2 in those 3 games.
Yep.
But got to have an offensive line.
Well, Lombardi seems like he's taking every shot he can at this new
Oh,
regime.
like I said, he's got an
and
agenda.
then every time he's, I didn't
They're
even
fun.
get into this.
They're fun. They're
Right.
nice.
They're nice, and I know like they want to blame all their problems on Belichick, but like these little asides in the
Yeah.
middle of his rants.
Yeah.
Please,
We know where his loyalties are.
please, at least with like Bill, right? If Bill's bitter, I could understand it. Bill has accomplished so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could understand if he's bitter and maybe like has a sardonic side that he's sort of enjoying. The Schadenfreude
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
what's going
yeah.
on. I could get that.
Yep.
But it's a guy that won 6 titles for the Patriots. What has Mike Lombardi ever done other than drive the Uber to pick up these great people at the airport? Like, please.
Ron in Conway, New Hampshire. I don't have to say too much as it's me time now. I just wanted to ask one weird question regarding the decision. Supposedly, Mayo said in his presser that he was disappointed that the story broke before he told the team. My question is, why the hell would Mayo have not told the team? I mean, if Mayo and the staff knew, why didn't they tell the team sooner? I had felt for months since the end of camp that Mayo wanted to start Maye, but got resistance from AVP and Wolf, and that it was a power struggle between them. Also, what the hell is with Orlovsky? He's being such a whine ass. Orlovsky praises Williams and the other rookie quarterbacks, but now it's such a problem with Maye. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Excited to see Maye. So on the not telling the team, Wednesday, I think, was the first time the team would all be in the building. So I think he was waiting for that. And I think it is disappointing that it got leaked out.
Well,
I don't know who
he
did
could
it.
have
but
done it
it's-
Monday,
it's-
right? He could have talked to the team Monday. No?
They're not all in on Monday. Some are, but I don't think they're all in. And they're certainly not all in at the same time.
They're not in on Tuesday. Like
Yeah,
the Tuesday's
right.
the players'
Tuesday
day off.
they're not in.
He said that he spoke to Brissett in May on Tuesday.
Right.
And that's, then what did he say? Like some of that was like supposition or something like that?
I kind of, I don't know. I missed some of this because my recollection was like he was okay with it just getting out. Like he told the guys that needed to get out, and the guys weren't here yesterday. And I don't know.
He told
I
the
guess we gotta
team
look
this
at the
morning.
transcript. Yeah.
He told the team this morning that he said specifically. But he talked to May and Brissett Tuesday.
Yeah. And then it got out.
And then it got out.
Right. So it could have been anyone. leaking it. It
Could
could have been
Fred.
It could have been
Fred
Drake,
doing his victory
No,
lap.
it could have been Drake May telling a family member and a family member telling somebody, and then like who knows how it got out. But it is unfortunate it got out, and that's one of the
and I
one
know
of the
people-
tough things about being a head coach is dealing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and people have made a big deal because in training camp, at the end of training camp after the Washington game, Gerard was really adamant about telling the team before he told the media, if you recall.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people are saying, well, why shift? But I don't think this was the way Gerard wanted it to be.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
sort of emanated, or disseminated, I should say.
Yep. Brandon in Hickory, North Carolina. Has there ever been a team that 5 of the 6 elected captains are no longer on the field?
It's unreal.
This season has just been a train wreck from the start, and it's nice to finally have something as a fan to be excited for on Sunday. I'm pumped to get to see Drake start, and I think it's a perfect matchup. We will see how he handles the pressure of going up against another young, really good quarterback. Also, I think the receivers may have an extra burst of energy this week for Drake. Pats 27, Texans 24. Drake leads the team to a walk-off touchdown drive. Go Pats. And Loveless. Well, if that happens, the shirt's coming off.
Fred's going to come.
The shirt is coming off if that
Your
happens.
shirt?
For one game, you're
For
gonna go
one
crazy?
game.
You think it's ridiculous that they could win Sunday?
That way? That's
Anyway.
that's
Any
storybook,
given
Paul.
Sunday.
Anyway.
That's Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
Hollywood.
Like, was it Hollywood that Brady? Well, I suppose you could say it was. That game that Mike talked about, they won 41-13.
I'll tell you what seems Hollywood is all the captains dropping like flies,
It's-
and that already
yeah,
seems like
it's
in a
amazing.
bad way.
It's amazing. Who's left?
Dietrich Wise.
Dietrich Wise.
Last man standing.
Imagine him, you're walking around, you're just looking around and see if anything's going to fall on you at any second.
Chris in Kentucky wants to know who's Drake going to be most like? Josh Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, Burrow, or maybe a Sam Darnold, Baker, Captain Kirk? Who do you think he'll be most like?
Probably that Herbert-ish, I think. I don't think he's the freight train that Josh
He's not
Allen
big
is.
enough. Yeah, he's not
You
big
know,
enough for the Josh Allen.
But he's got the big arm like Herbert does, and yeah, I think that's probably. I mean, enough
And
athleticism
he's athletic,
to scoot around.
like
but
Herbert is. I
Yeah.
kind of like that one.
yeah, it's probably the closest. I mean, I hate
High end.
everything's got to be a comparison, but yeah, that's probably the
That's what
good
we do,
size,
Mike. That's what we do. We compare. We compare
big arm.
players.
Yeah.
Chris in South Carolina says he's stuck at work, but can't wait for the drive home to listen to your takes on the switch at quarterback. I just want to say that I think Drake handled himself extremely well during the beginning of the season, maturely and responsibly, waiting for his chance to get his career started. I have a really good feeling about him as a player and a person, and I think there's good things in store for us over the next decade as we continue to build and rally around him.
I know that dude. I know Chris. Yeah, he was a writer back in the Bleacher Report days with myself as well. When
So I
they
would
were
be
mining
curious
us
then.
for free work.
That you know him.
I just recognize his name. Yeah.
Okay, I'd be curious as to what what specifically was he impressed with how Drake May handled himself in the first 5 weeks?
He didn't
What did
say
he-
anything.
I mean, do you think he should have been storming the Bastille to tell Gerard that he should be starting?
Yeah.
Because nobody would do that.
Just standing there looking cool,
Like,
watching.
I'm the 3rd overall pick. I'm a rookie, and I'm going to wait my turn.
Right.
I like it too.
I did really like some. This is a complete aside. That question that we've gotten frequently about Drake May on the sideline, his, where he is, his demeanor, why is he not listening to the coaches, blah, 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 blah. He was asked directly that today, and he gave the exact answer that the 4 of us, I'll include Evan, have given, as our thoughts as to why. He likes the vantage point of where he is. He's trying to get behind the offense, behind the quarterback, reading the defense, reading the safeties, sort of checking the coverage, and all the while he's listening to everything. So I thought that was exactly what we thought, and because that's what we've been saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I was glad to hear that, but he addressed that.
Yeah, as close as you can get to really actually seeing the defense, and
Bart in Poland, I got to say, starting Maye versus Houston may not be the smartest idea. However, as someone who's going to his first NFL game next week in London, I'm selfishly loving it. I really like Jacoby, but my first NFL experience being whatever that offense was in the first 5 weeks wouldn't have been ideal. Even if the offense doesn't look great initially with Drake Trevor Lawrence versus Drake Maye, probably my two favorite quarterback prospects in the last 5 years, looks absolutely great for me.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's definitely some fans over there excited for sure.
Oh, absolutely should be. That'd be great.
Are you, Fred? I've got a couple questions, though. Are you going to do anything over there? Are you going to do any meet Fred Kirsch?
Well, I will say that there'll be a party on Saturday night at the Greenwood Pub in London. I'm not exactly sure where in London it is, but I will be the host.
Whoa!
I will be on stage hosting it.
You bring in the tux?
Because no one else would do it.
Really?
So no, but I am going to be the person on stage doing it. So I'll be
drunk,
running the program.
I will say, Mike, London is fun.
Yeah.
Like, we got a chance to go to Germany too, and
fun.
but in terms of just the experience, think of the Friday night in Germany on steroids.
I can't imagine
that was London.
That's fun. Well, someday.
from London. Yeah, our fans in London are great.
They are,
they've been fans for a long time.
Big presence. It's going to be a home game.
Yeah.
I know it's a road game for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Technically, and Jacksonville's got that market. They're playing actually this week in London too, but it's going to be like a home game for the Patriots.
What was the first year they played there? 12?
09?
09? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tampa.
Yeah.
Played Tampa. Again, you know who I think played quarterback that day for the Bucks? Josh Johnson, who I believe is still in the league.
Really?
Wow.
Well, he might not still be in the league, but he
15
was.
years
All right, well, you got to take a break. I got to take off.
I can't believe you're leaving.
Yeah, I got to take off. You
now
guys,
you take Deuce's creativity now because he's got a host. Because I won't host.
No, I'm gonna hijack the show.
All right.
yeah, I have to take off. So
Well, don't log out. How am I supposed to
well,
read the email?
that's my email. I don't want use your own email. So Paul,
Pornhub.
Matt.
Paul, Evan, Paul, Deuce, Evan will be here.
Yeah.
So they'll be here until 2:00. Have no fear.
Yeah, and obviously we're taking your reaction to Drake May. So
Give us a call.
let us know what you think.
I
And
won't
if you,
drop
you know what, we've been really positive, in this show, and we're going to continue to be. But you guys might not agree with the move, so that you can.
Yeah.
Those opinions are opinions.
Maybe Dan Orlovsky
are welcome as well.
will call in.
Yeah, Orlovsky just thinks it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
I don't think he has anything against Drake May.
No,
He
he was
addressed that
Yeah,
email
Listen,
earlier.
if he was being put in the game, I can understand why he would think that, because he doesn't have the tools that Drake May has.
Yeah, and Orlovsky came out in the summer about.
Needed to sniff after that one.
Sorry, I jumped in on that. But he had said in the summer he was concerned about Drake May's footwork, how far he had to go.
He's the anti-Patriots Twitter guy. He shows clips of plays that everybody is completely blanketed. Everybody else shows these plays where evidently they've superimposed the defensive backs out of the off the screen. There's nobody covering anybody for the Patriots on the plays that the Patriots Twitterati likes to put out there.
Yeah. All right, Matt, let's do a quick break, and these guys will be back right after that. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Hey, sit down. No, I don't feel for me. Sit down.
Drake, just a thought on what your reaction was to getting news on your first NFL start and how excited are you and how ready are you for this opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. Something you dream of. Getting your first start in the NFL. So really excited to get out there with the guys. Take advantage of having the full week to get prepared and try to put my best foot forward to help the team win.
Drake, you just said the word opportunity. It is a big opportunity. How much more comfortable are you now, several weeks into the season, from having watched and learned a little bit about the system, to take advantage of this opportunity than maybe you would have been earlier in the season?
Yeah, I think now we're in week 6. I had 5 games of sitting on the sideline, hearing the play calls, preparing for the game, prepared for a Thursday night game versus preparing for a Sunday night or Sunday afternoon game. So I feel like we've balanced a lot of different things throughout the week and how to prepare. And just trying to tag along from Jacoby, a veteran in this league who's does a great job of learning so much from him and seeing how he goes about practice. So that's been probably the best thing of watching Jacoby and watching how he handles, the whole 9 yards, whether it's preparing, handling teammates, handling y'all, and just he's been great and a great mentor.
Drake, how much input have you had in the offense's changes moving forward and/or the game plan coming up for Sunday?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just me playing on time, playing in rhythm, and trusting the guys around me. I think the game plan not gonna change. I think obviously you got a rookie quarterback going out there, but at the same time, what we do on offense, what we do on offense. So not trying to give too much hints, towards game plan. We got a game to play Sunday, but just looking forward to it.
Have you just had any input of I like these concepts or plays or things of that nature?
Yeah, that happens every week. AVP comes to us at the end of the week. He came to Jacoby, the first 5 weeks. What do you like? And hey, this is my favorite third down or my favorite drop back. So we do that every week.
Gerard Maye mentioned that you have the capability to make off-season plays. Off platform plays, when things break down, you can be also down. How do you balance that in this first start, going against an NFL team whose game plan for you is not preseason, they're a very good pass rush?
Yeah.
How will you process being careful and being a playmaker?
Yeah. I think early on, just try to take what they give me, find completions. I think that's the biggest thing for young quarterback going in there. And then from there, just don't try to hunt up off platform or off play, off schedule throws. I think just kind of feel it out and just play football. Yeah, I think the biggest thing sometimes is just you try to get outside the pocket when you don't need to, and little things like that. So just play within the pocket and trust my feet, and just go out there and play.
Where do you feel like you've grown the most so far this season for the Patriots?
Yeah, I think just really what comes with kind of learning the NFL quarterback and kind of what comes with really the title. Handling leadership. Learning from Jacoby what he's done. He's a great leader. Guys, one of our biggest leaders on the team. How the verbiage of calling the huddles. Just had my first walkthrough and felt pretty good with the verbiage there. So other than that, just excited for these guys. I think it's an opportunity. It's a good football team to go out there and prove people wrong.
Can you describe what the conversation was like between you and Jacoby after you got the news and what the message has been from him?
Oh, Jacoby, he's the ideal teammate. Ideal, guy to be in the room with as a quarterback. I think the biggest thing is you hate it for him. I think Jacoby, fought his butt off. Got up, every time he's getting hit, and not only that, he just kept that mindset of, hey, it's gonna be the next play. Got this drive coming. Just seeing him on the sideline, and how just the positive vibes he kind of kept and brought to this team, and will still bring to this team. He's a great mentor, great friend, and I was trying to do everything I can to help him, and I'm sure he'll do the same.
Drake, when you think about watching Jacoby in games, looking at you on the sideline while he's out there, it seemed like oftentimes your vantage point was down the sideline. What were you gaining from that point of view, and how did it match up what you were seeing with what you saw on video?
Yeah, kind of down the sideline, you kind of get a more view of the defensive structure. Trying to see techniques up front from the defensive line, trying to see safeties, trying to see kind of back end stuff, and at the same time kind of get the back view of the quarterback's thinking. So I tried to do that, or try to kind of stand behind Jacoby. I think that was kind of my mindset. Is trying to get a feel of playing back there behind him, what it'd be like, and you don't get a great view as you do in practice and standing right behind him. So just trying to replicate that and play the game while I'm on the sideline.
Drake, you emulated some of the best quarterbacks in the league on the scout team. I was wondering, are there any specific lessons you were able to learn from, emulating Burrow, Rodgers, or any of those guys?
Yeah, I think just the timing that they play with and the routes. I think, our defense coaches speak on that, kind of the rhythm and the timing of, hey, this ball is thrown before they're looking, and anticipation and throwing guys open. I think that's the biggest thing, and I've tried to take and use scout team as trying to throw guys open and maybe throw a ball that I may not have had in my life before if I see something. So I think that's the biggest thing. And yeah, we've on scout team we've kind of repped some pretty good quarterbacks and some fun offenses to throw the football in on scout. So it's been cool to see how similar the offenses are and kind of some stuff that we have and some stuff they do differently. So it's been pretty cool.
You can only control what you can. Did you feel over the last couple of weeks maybe that this was heading in the direction that it did this week? Did you maybe get more reps in practice? Did you just feel like you were heading in this direction to start this week this early?
Really, I was just trying to prepare and try to stay ready every week. I think that's the thing about this league. You never know when your number's going to get called, so try to stay ready. And I think, like I said earlier, Jacoby, I think he did all he could. I think he battled his butt off and was a great leader. So I think kind of the biggest thing is it's a winning league. We're sitting here at 1-4, and I think these guys around here want to win.
What do you expect of yourself on Sunday?
Yeah, I think go out there and just try to make some plays. I think the biggest thing I was telling some of those guys is probably be a little nerves at the beginning, but at the end of the day, I think once we settle down, we got a chance to move the football and just have fun out there. Back to having fun going out there. I think this is what this game is about. Don't make it too big or the spotlight too big, and just go out there with those guys that we've been battling for 3 months in training camp. Go out there and try to make some plays.
How about a thought on opening it home in front of the fans here, and also will you have an entire Maye family section coming to the game?
Yeah, I think I think a few of my brothers and my parents would be here, but nothing in particular. But I think it'd be pretty sweet in the red throwbacks. I think that'll be pretty cool to get out there in my first start, and especially in front of these fans. I think Patriots fans are the best fans in the league, and looking forward to playing Gillette in front of them. So, thank y'all.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
And now, great moments in history.
So NSYNC is playing at the old stadium. And like my wife is going, she's taking my nieces and stuff. The webmaster, who Rick Ames, he took this piece of cardboard and he somehow like brought this wire, and it was like honk if you love NSYNC.
But he rigged it. He rigged it up in such a way that Paul wouldn't see it when he got in his car, but once he started driving, it would flap down.
So I'm
he's
driving down Route 1
with this thing, and everyone's honking at him.
And I'm meeting Beth at like Papagino's. And like everybody's beeping, and I'm like, what the? I'm driving like 10 miles an hour. What
Hey, ass man!
Yeah, exactly.
You got that right.
I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's just too perfect.
Honk if you love
and everybody, every single person in the building knew about it.
Yeah.
And they all like were what? And they couldn't wait for me to get back because I was going down to meet Beth and my nieces, and I was coming back, and they were like, how'd that go?
That's another great moment from
That was a classic.
All right, we're back here with NSYNC superfan Paul Perillo.
I do like NSYNC.
And
you know what?
Yeah.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May. Perfect. How perfect is that, Paul? Well, we're riding with PP and the Deuce here. As Fred left us alone, so now I get to hijack.
And even Fred Levin's not going to get us out of our good moods. We're just excited.
No, we are. Oh, there was a funny email. I'm not going to go back to it, but somebody said, he's like, I love Deuce. He's like all monotone and depressed on Tuesday, and the post game show on Tuesday, and then he comes in today, and I'm like, everything's awesome.
Sunday was a wellness check on Deuce.
Yeah.
That was a particularly tough loss for you because you put a lot into that one.
I did. I had a rant to the camera and everything. I took my one like Fred does, and I was like, tried to rally the troops. They didn't listen to me though.
No.
But that was just feeling like you had maybe a chance to put Miami into more of a spiral and maybe put them below where you're going to be at the end of this year? I don't know. I mean, it's obviously there's so many injuries and things that had to play out, but just to see the same game again, it goes back to why
the division has some issues.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no question. Miami certainly didn't fix anything with that win the other day. Obviously, the Jets. I don't know how much. Do we talk about Salah?
Oh, I don't think so.
He gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, the division's in a little bit of a turmoil.
It is. I mean,
and Fred will tell you the Bills are done anyway. So
right. What is it? Is it
window closed?
Closing. So Paul, I want to read this email here because I think it's a good one from John in Utah, and it's kind of how I feel a little bit.
Congratulations on the win last night for the hockey club.
Oh, and he actually mentions that in his email. But he says, I'm trying not to get pre-mad at fans for calling Drake Maye a bust in December when the team only has 3 wins and the offense is only marginally improved. I'm glad he's going to get some experience seeing and doing everything firsthand instead of on the sideline. He also adds, Jacoby Brissett deserves the NFL's Purple Heart for standing in behind that offensive line and taking shots constantly. Hopefully they'll be able to improve a bit, but regardless, it'll be a learning experience for Drake. Excited for a new era, and he says he was at the game last night in Utah for the Utah Hockey Club. Are they sticking with that? Are they going to change it?
I think for the year anyway.
Just for the year. That's the new thing they do. They you soft launch your mascot.
If you were a team, would you just put a mascot out there, sight unseen?
No, I know, right?
I'd vet it for about 3 years.
You got to listen, right? Well, I like the Fleet. Our own PWHL team went with the Fleet, and I know I'm usually against the singular names,
one,
but Fleet does imply many of ships, so I guess I'm okay with it.
Okay.
But I like Utah's colors. I think I like that light blue. Like I've always liked Maine. Sorry, I know you're a hockey's guy,
Maine's
but like
got a sharp uniform.
I like those light blue, dark blue kind of combinations.
Yeah.
So I think they went with a good choice. It wasn't anything too crazy, like those crazy teals and stuff. But go back to the email, Paul. That's just what I'm worried about. Is like, how do we know the difference without wins and losses of it was good for Drake Maye versus it wasn't as good as we thought it would be? And I want to be fair to him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be easy to react to wins and losses. But, we talked about 93. I brought it up a couple times with Bledsoe where they won the last 4 games. And, I mean, they won 5 games all year. They were 5-12. Or, sorry, 5-11. See, the 17 games got in my head.
5-11.
But there was excitement, and obviously you beat Miami in you win in overtime too, right? It's a walk-off touchdown win to end the season. You don't make the playoffs.
Mike, who caught the touchdown pass?
Yeah, you have.
What the? Come on. Come on. Oh, you disgust me.
I don't know.
Michael Timpson.
No, I wouldn't have gotten that one. But obviously that's the clear example of that's great, right? Like you won your last 4 games. I'm sure you can tell us how exactly Bledsoe was playing in those games. But
yeah,
it might not be like that.
He was a typical rookie quarterback. He had his ups and downs. I think he had 15 touchdowns, 15 picks or something like that.
It's right in that area.
It was, very mediocre season, but there were games that you saw along the way that you were like, okay, I can see what they see.
Yeah.
Certainly, you could make an argument that last game against Miami that you're talking about was the best game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 33-27 in overtime. Like it was a high-scoring game.
30. You can score more than 30 points. That's
yeah. Yeah. So you saw, I always say that particular year, not that we need to go back into the 1993 time machine, but
historical comparison.
There was a game that he was absolutely off, probably his worst game. He played at Pittsburgh, and I think he threw 5 interceptions. But what I came away, that was the most convinced that I was that he was going to be a good player because it was awful. It was Three River Stadium. Nothing was going right. He was making all kinds of mistakes, and they got the ball back at the end of the game. I want to say they were down 17-14, and all of a sudden he put together a drive, and they went all the way down the field. They had the ball inside the 1-yard line. They went for it. Instead of kicking the field goal to tie, they went for the win on a quarterback sneak. He got stuffed. But I was like, you can play that bad as a rookie, and yet with the game on the line, you put together a drive, and, obviously they fell short. It was kind of a big thing with Parcells and Bledsoe about the quarterback sneak, and Parcells didn't want to do it. Drew said, I can get in. Like, it was a whole thing, but, no, he didn't get in. But I was just like, I always say, pitchers, I used to say, anybody can get guys out when they have their stuff. But what do you do when you don't? Same for a quarterback, When you go out and the first 2 drives, you go right down the field and it's 14-0. Anybody can play great the rest of the game that way. But what do you do when you stink for 3 quarters, but the game is still winnable? That's why I give Brissett a little credit. I thought some of his best throws And the 5 weeks came in that last drive last week. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to do mentally, to overcome all that adversity, that a lot of which is brought on by you and your poor performance. How do you respond to that? So those are the kinds of little things that I'll be looking for with Drake Maye. I'm not expecting him to do what Jaden Daniels is doing.
Yeah.
Like, if that happens, obviously, we'll do the Fred shirt off thing in the prep. No? You're the only one of us that's in shape. Why wouldn't you do it?
I don't need to horrify everyone in the press box, Paul.
That's true.
We've got enough going for it, going against this right now.
Like, it'd be great if he was so good that we can all see it. It's obvious to anybody.
Right.
But more likely, it's going to be more of a thing where, there's some subtleties that he's doing some things better than he had been doing, incrementally. And the offense looks incrementally better than it was with Brissett. And, like something that you said before we took the break, is the ball coming out quick? Is it coming out to the right place? The easy stuff. And I think he mentioned that today. Something about, the easy throws. And you had made the comment, I just wish we could get the easy stuff with Brissett. And I said, well, what's easy? Yeah. That kind of stuff. It might not translate to more production and more points and all that, but I'd like to see some of those quick throws be completed more often than they have been.
Do you think, though, I feel like it's most likely going to be nuanced, and it's not going to be a box score, like look at the box score and you'll know, and I think that's one of the things that, like, you're good at, because sometimes people, it feels like, just read the box score, and then they say it, and then you come and, like, rattle off the play sequence, and you're like, well, actually, And,
well, it's like, how many, like I said, like, how many holding calls did they get in the game the other day that wiped out running plays?
Yeah, right.
That kind of stuff.
Is there any chance that he's even better than we're expecting? I mean, I know we're not super, over the top positive.
I think
all the
there's
time,
a
but
big.
like,
I think there's a really good chance he's better than I'm expecting, because I'm not expecting much at the start.
I'm trying to temper expectations, but that's what I just want to set reasonable. I felt like I was reasonable. Like, someone wrote in and said, I felt like get to November, that's when I was going to start to get the itch. I felt like that was reasonable, and I want to be, reasonable in my expectations of what he can do. But I think the only thing that will disappoint me, though, is that if we don't see those glimpses of the talent, the athleticism, the arm.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I feel like those things were on display from the word go this spring when we first got him out there, and he was just, not all of them complete, but not afraid to chuck the ball down the field, to throw the ball where he's, in the air and off platform, all that stuff. Like, he didn't hesitate from any of that stuff.
I want to see some offense that just looks natural
Patriots,
and normal.
like a
Patriots plays. I want to see offense that looks normal.
All right, let's jump over to the phones here. Check out
the
Mike
TPX
in
hotline?
Vermont. The TPX hotline. Thanks for reminding me. Mike in Vermont. Hey, Mike. Mike. Oh, Mike, I'm not a phone dropper. You got to come on, bro. All right, you're out. Jumping down to Vegas. Vinny in Vegas. Hey, Vinny.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm excited for Drake. I don't have a lot of expectations. I just wanted to start going on his development. I did actually listen to some of Paul's shows the other day, and they brought up that they felt like the move was a panic move, and I don't fully disagree with it. What I do disagree with is that the Houston Texans are, the worst time to do it. A month ago when they say that the plan was made, there was no soft landing spot for Drake on the first, 6 weeks. I mean, you had, at that point, the Dolphins had their quarterback, right? I mean, that was going to be a game that we were going to lose at home.
Right.
And so I don't fully agree that, if the plan was made a month ago, that they should have started before now. Like, that doesn't go with me. And I do have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How big of a deal it is that Kendrick Bourne is going to be able to play and is a full go?
Gotcha. Thanks, Vinny. Appreciate the call.
Another
KB.
guy.
Yeah, another guy.
Another option in the passing game. I think they need more.
Can he start to ramp up to a little bit more? I mean, he didn't play a lot.
And he said, what did he say? He probably felt like he needed another couple of weeks before that was going to happen. But, I think he's a better player than the guys that are not going to be playing now, so I think that helps.
Yep. Sticking with the TPX hotline, Patty Agawam. Hey, Patty.
What's up, Dan?
Hey.
Yeah, I got Teflon. So, Paulie, I got Michael Timpson.
When you said that, I got that right away. I'm like, how the hell does Deuce not know that was Michael Timpson who caught that?
I think it blocked it out.
He was just blogging at the time.
Mike, I don't know what to say other than I'm excited. I can't wait. And the bigger question I wanted to ask you guys, well, it's not the bigger question. The smaller question I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think, do you guys have any interest in Devin White, who's been recently released due to the attrition that's been on the team and on the defense, specifically up the middle of the defense?
Yeah.
I think he'd be a good ad. I'd love to see him in Patriots blue. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Patty. I'd be all for it.
My first thought is, why is he released?
Yeah, I mean, that is a question, and I don't know why he hasn't played. He hasn't dressed for a single game in Philly, but I don't know. I'm always intrigued because they don't have anybody right now, and I maybe,
I wouldn't kill him for doing it, you know, but my guess is he's done.
What's he have left? Yeah, I mean, it's fair to wonder. I don't know enough about him, but it's just when these names get released. Like, a guy has a good season, and then for eternity,
I absolutely loved Devin. Devin White in Tampa was a great player.
How did he fall off so quick?
Because I just think there's a lot of wear and tear at that spot.
Yeah.
So there was a trend in the league that really went widespread with that undersized athletic inside linebacker types. It was Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith and Kenneth Murray and Devin White, Devin Bush, I think in Pittsburgh. There were a lot of guys like that, and I loved them. I thought it was sort of a new way, and Belichick wasn't enamored with those guys. They were too small for him. Devin White's a guy that was really, really good. I just think that there's probably a lot of wear and tear, being a little undersized.
I mean, even not being undersized, look at Juwan Bentley. I mean, he's getting a little bit of wear and tear there inside as well. But
I would have no problem with taking a flyer on a guy like that. Obviously, had the ability to be an impact player in the league. Whether or not he could still do it, who knows?
Yeah. Sticking with the TPX hotline, it's very hot on the hotline today. Kendall, North Carolina. Hey, Kendall.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. What's up?
When do you guys think you know what you have at quarterback? Take a year, about 2 years? And then my second question is, how do you think the wide receiver snap is going to shake out for Sunday? Thanks.
I didn't. I'm not sure I caught the first part.
When do you think you'll know about the quarterback? And I would say around this time next year, you'll probably have a pretty good clue, assuming he plays all the games.
Yeah,
like doesn't get hurt. Like if he plays, whatever. What do they have left?
12.
We have 12 games left. So if he plays 12, and then another, half dozen
5,
or so
16,
next year, you probably have a good idea of where he is.
Then you'll see how they are going into the season.
Trending.
What the new pieces are doing. Is there a rookie tackle?
It's never perfect. Like Trevor Lawrence. Like he played his rookie year, and it was a disaster with Urban Meyer and all that mess that went on there. And then he took a second year, and then as the second year sort of was wrapping up, it looked like he was getting really good. And then third year, he looked like he was phenomenal. And then all of a sudden, he hurt his ankle, and he lost 9 games in a row. And finally snapped that streak last week. So certainly, if you went halfway through the second year for Trevor Lawrence, you'd be like, oh, we got something here. He's definitely on the rise. And
kind of scares me.
I still think he's pretty good.
Me too. I know.
But I don't think he's great.
I know. It scares me. I mean, I guess, is the path to greatness always, I mean, I know it's a little bumpy, but is it generally up? I mean, with him, it seems like it's, I don't know if he's still on that path to greatness anymore.
Kendall, I would just say the wide receivers are probably what you saw on Sunday. I think it's
Douglas Polk.
I think it's Douglas Polk, Bourne, with some booty mixed in.
Like mixing in the booty.
I like booty.
Sticking with the TPX hotline, but first, hey Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Let's go places. And, of course, Paul, it's easy to drink. It's easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. Heading out to Toronto. Brad, I think the Maple Leafs got off to a good start last night. Did they? I didn't catch that.
I didn't know they played.
Maybe they didn't.
Oh, no, they start tonight.
Yeah, all right, sorry.
Come on, Mike.
There's just a lot of hype. A lot of hype
Mr.
for the Maple
Hockey.
Leafs. I know.
Brad, I got to deal with Mr. Hockey here.
Sorry, Brad.
He doesn't even know the schedule.
What's going on up in Toronto?
Nothing really. I just got a quick question. We're talking about starting May. Would it not have made sense to start him last week, considering it's a short week going to London? They got the Jags, so I didn't know what the schedule is.
Yeah.
You would think that it'll be a shorter week this week coming up after Houston.
Yeah. Thanks, Brad. I don't know. I think we've been saying it for so long, Paulie. It's like it's never going to be perfect. Like there's always going to be something you can point out to be like it shouldn't be this week.
And what Brad just said. Yeah. Like I think you could make an argument you should have played last week. I think you could argument they could have waited till next week. And then you could say, well, why would you do it next week when it's going to be London and all that? So, yeah, I mean, there's no perfect time. I'm just excited that it's time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe you spin it that way of, all right, well, like I said earlier, you're getting him to face against a young up-and-coming team that seems like it's going to be in the mix for a while. And then, Jacksonville's been up and down, but, still has kind of teetered with that, with that up-and-coming thing for a little bit. I mean, I know that they've fallen back a little bit, but, and he gets an opportunity to go on a, foreign stadium and, all
the Jacksonville thing is
experience
interesting. It's another one. Like, we don't have to turn it into, like, the Jacksonville podcast. But they were a disaster. Then all of a sudden they won a division at 9-8. Then they won a playoff game with an unbelievable comeback against the Chargers. Then they were 8-3 last year. Number 1 seed in the AFC. And then Trevor Lawrence hurt his ankle. And they never won again. They won one game. I believe they beat Carolina without Trevor Lawrence. And that was it. And they ended up losing out in the playoffs. And then they will, they lose 4 in a row to start the year until they won the other day. I still think that's a good football team. That's a talented team. That's, got some problems. Obviously, they're 1-4. They have problems. But I still think they have some talent.
Yeah, Dan in Virginia. I mean, I don't really want to read this one because he's talking about, like, with Drake starting, it removes the fear I've had while seeing Jacoby take a beating. If Jacoby were to sustain a long-term or season-ending injury, who'd be the backup to Drake? Should he, God forbid, suffer a similar injury? Joe Milton, Mayo said today that it would be Jacoby. But is that what people are afraid of? Is that what they're afraid of? It's
I think a lot of people are afraid of injury.
This is the wrong time because they're just afraid of him getting hurt by a really good defense.
That's what Mike.
I mean,
I know I'm picking on Mike Lombardi, and I know he was a general manager in the league. So, what have I ever done? Nothing. That's accurate. You guys are accurate to point that out. But you can't operate in fear of injury in that league. Injuries, everybody's dealing with them. People are going to get hurt. No one wants them to happen, but if you had to say, Mike, do you think Jacoby Brissett would have started 17 games physically?
No way.
Do you think Drake May is going to start the last 12?
God, I hope so.
But probably not, right? Because it's just that's what happens.
I know.
There's a reason that almost none of the quarterbacks will start all 17 games for their teams.
You just pray it's not ACL or
maybe he sprains a shoulder or something, and he
has
his
left shoulder,
he has to miss a week and not the season. But
that's what I think.
The unfortunate fact of the matter is these guys are probably going to get hurt.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that's what's scary is if you get into the game and all of a sudden it looks like that Eagles joint practice did, where you're just like, he can't do anything. I mean, what do you want him to do? Like, they're right in his face. That's what's scary. And then as the hits start to add up, does it? That is something to watch over the long term. Does the tonnage catch up with him? Does he start to get sped up? As they say,
and you start watching the rush
and just instantly
downfield,
bailing on
which
the
is,
pocket.
I think, where the line of demarcation came with Mac Jones.
Yeah, right. Just kept catching up, but fingers crossed. We'll see. TPX Hotline, Matthew, Arizona. Hey, Matthew.
How's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Really excited for Drake to start. Kind of piggybacking on what you guys were talking about. Look at Bledsoe's first year. We went 5-11. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 8 of the 11, maybe 8 11 games. We're close to winning. So I think with Drake, I'm looking at progression more than anything. But Belichick, he didn't need to Brady because Bledsoe was getting sacked so much. Is he going to get hurt? Brady got injured during the AFC game. Bledsoe came in and was able to win it. So you have the fear of injury prevent you progressing in the NFL.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot of that. I know he's right about the 93 season was very competitive. They lost a lot of close games. They were, I want to say it was 1-6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. They were one-score games over and over and over.
Yeah.
They just couldn't find a way to win one of them, and then they played really well. Finally, in December, and I think they beat. I want to say they beat the Colts 38-0. you know, in one of those games, and obviously the Miami game that we talked about. But the one thing that Parcells did a really, really good job of, he said, I'm going to put this kid, I'm going to throw him to the Wolves, but he made sure that he was protected. That's the one thing that really, one glaring thing, difference.
Especially Bledsoe, right?
Drew didn't get, first of all, this is like, you knew that he wasn't exactly like Lamar Jackson back there, but when he came out, he wasn't the guy. What did Ernie Adams call him in the documentary? The wounded wildebeest or something like that.
Yeah.
He wasn't that at that time.
Yeah, he still could shake a little bit.
He never got sacked.
Yeah.
His first, like, when Parcells was the coach, that was, 4 years? He never got sacked. He didn't start getting sacked until Parcells left, and I think it was part of coaching with, you know, when Carroll came in. Like, it wasn't the same sort of dedication to protecting the passer, because they had gotten sacked like an absurd amount of times in '92, and Parcells came in and said, "We're going to cut that number down significantly," and they did.
And how did they do it? Did they? I mean, because that's
He
right at the start of free
he
agency,
signed some
right?
of his guys. Like
Yeah.
he got, I think William Roberts came from the Giants as one of the guards. I think Bob Cratch might have come.
Cratch. That's a good one. Yeah.
I hate when you look at me
No,
like that.
it's just funny
He
because
makes me feel so bad about myself.
No,
for
you
knowing,
say these names, and then all of a sudden I can just like picture the name.
but you do. You have this
on
way
the
of
back.
looking at me like, what?
That's my
kind of a person.
No,
would
that's
know
my
that kind of minutia.
that's
about
my
the
memory
1993 because I
going
told
back.
you that's when it all happened.
Yeah.
Like I was always a Patriots fan, but when they drafted him number 1 overall, I said, I'm in. I'm a season ticket holder now. I'm with you now, Pop. I'm in.
Well,
and
hopefully,
and that was it. That was the start for me.
Hopefully,
Real, like, passion.
People like Steven Scottsdale, who, or sorry, no, this is the wrong email. I jumped to the wrong email. Sorry, Steve. I'm going to read this one real quick, though. It's a little inside baseball, but he said, do you guys have 2 new sets? I've seen the one you're in now, and the other one with the table sort of look like the old setup. Got to say that today's set reminds me of sitting in a doctor's office trying to make conversation with other patients.
I totally agree.
It doesn't look very
it's
comfortable.
just as
and
uncomfortable as
inviting.
that. No, yeah. So we do have in our beautiful studio, which no sarcasm at all. This behind us here, the great job that that our staff did transforming the state. It was badly needed because the old studio is in disrepair, shall we say?
I think he just likes the Bledsoe picture.
I
that's
do.
behind
That's
him.
my favorite. I heart Drew. You can see him. Actually, he's over there. See, Paul, learn how things work on
Right over
TV.
here.
It's a mirror image. Yeah, there he is.
There they are.
So
reunited.
we do have 2 different sets, though. We have this more casual podcast look that Mike and I are coming at you from today, and then when we do like pre and post game, I think Evan and Alex do Catch 22, a little bit
Desk.
more of a desk environment,
Yeah.
a little bit more serious.
I like the desk. I like the desk.
I like the desk too.
This is all right. I feel
Like that's why I don't eat anymore.
But we got a new table too. It looks.
Paul's food hasn't been here for a while, if you guys haven't noticed, because you can't eat on this thing.
That's been the biggest benefit
I
of the
could use
whole
a
thing,
Pepsi
right?
though, man.
Garcon. Let's go to the TPX hotline. Johnny in LA. How are things out
Johnny?
there? LA, my old LA stomping grounds. Johnny, what's going on out there?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Yeah, I'm up in the Palisades.
Beautiful.
Yep. Wish next time you're here, let's watch a game at Sonny McLean's.
I've been there many times. Be happy to. I probably won't be there for a game because I'll be here, but I'm sure I'll be back there soon.
Lots of good memories.
I can
there.
arrange it. He's on thin ice.
Paulie. Guys, I
Yes.
wanted to come to Evan's defense real quick.
Okay.
Evan got slaughtered for his comment and the whole mutiny thing. First of all, I think Evan does an amazing job, and I'm not even one of the dorks who gets into the minutia he does. I just think overall he's a really good writer. He cares about football a lot. I think he does a great job.
Agree to disagree.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal what he said. It's sports. Like, who cares? If the Patriots have an issue with what Lazar said, my advice to them is stop sucking. Like, you you've stunk for the better part of 5 or 6 years now, and if you want people to say great things about you, then start playing better football, start hiring better coaches, start making better decisions, stop doing stupid things like making defensive coordinators your offensive coordinator. The whole, like, you've stunk for a long time. If you don't want reporters saying there's a mutiny in the locker room, and if Lazar said it, there's some truth to it, then be better, do better. You've stunk. That's on you.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, obviously, there's a difference between the things that you're saying about the team's lack of success. That's objectively fact. Like, they haven't been successful since 21, really.
Yeah.
They haven't had a winning season since 21, right?
Thanks, Johnny.
But that's not the same as saying that the players no longer want to play for the coach. So, obviously, Evan, apologized. He apologized on the show yesterday, and we talked about it. He's not here to sort of add any more to that, but I think we would all agree that, we all are in the opinion business. We all say things sometimes, and I've been in, probably not in that hot of water, but we've all said and done stupid things, and sometimes we got to walk them back. And Evan walked it back, and, we moved on. But, yeah, I mean, it was a little too far, I would say. But, we did it. We owned it. And we move on.
I give Fred a lot of credit for, there's so much speculation about the taking down of the video, and it's like, here it is. Fred did it. Fred told you he did it, and, the reasoning why, and that he, thought it was a mistake. So, we try to be transparent, but I think we realize we're under a microscope here. And, I mean, look, I came from the outside, and it's such a unique position to be at. I think somebody at one point, I'm not sure who it was, it might have been Andy, described it as the team sees you as the media, but the media sees you as the team. And so you're kind of in this netherworld, and you're, trying to be respectfully critical of the team, and, but you're also trying not to.
It's perfectly put.
Trying not to take a blowtorch to, a specific player, or, I mean, I find that's, for me, is the easiest place to live is look at the third down defense. Don't look at player A at defensive end who got blown up 17 times. Those kind of things.
And it's hard, like, but just I love that phrase. The team sees us as the media, and the media sees us as the team. The team is right. The media is wrong.
Right.
Like, we're not the team. We work for the team, but we're not part of the team, and there's a big difference. We're hired to analyze the team just like everybody else.
Yeah, technically we work for Craft Sports and Entertainment. We are not,
right.
I'm not a Patriots employee.
No.
I can't get into the locker room, or into the, into their facility, all those kind of things. So there is some nuance to it that seems lost on some people in the external media.
So we try. I mean, like, listen, no one feels bad for us. We have a very fun job, and I wouldn't have been here for 20. This is my 26th season. You wouldn't stay at something, that long if you didn't enjoy it. I enjoy it. And yes, there's a fine line that we have to walk at times, but, grow up.
Yeah.
It's part of your job. It's part of life.
There are a lot harder jobs. There are a lot harder jobs. There are a lot harder jobs.
I've said a million times, it beats working for a living.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And I love this show. Believe me.
Let's see what Dan thinks down in Daytona Beach. Dan, how's the weather down there for you?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Paul and Deuce?
Hey, Dan.
It's pretty crazy down here in Florida. It's pouring right now at the current moment, but it's supposed to be getting worse tonight. So
be safe.
We're hanging in there.
Yeah, be safe.
I appreciate that, Paul. I was wanting Fred and the rest of the crew on and Evan to get my take on this, but it's kind of going to be beating a dead horse again. But I think I'm happy to see Maye play. That's awesome. But at this point, I mean, it was getting pretty boring, and was unwatchable. With the whole Jacoby Brissett and just Alex Van Pelt not being creative. And I've been watching your guys' show, Paul. Felger and Mass on 98.5, and they were talking about how they think Alex Van Pelt needs to go. And I gotta agree with him. I think he's calling very vanilla. It almost looks like a preseason game every time I watch it. So I don't know if maybe Mayo needs to move on, or I don't know what he needs to do. But I think that he needs to bring a younger, more innovative, like a Ben Johnson or Bobby Slower from the Texans into not them, but somebody like them that's young and innovative that can still run the wide zone scheme that they want to run.
Right.
Or maybe bring in Josh McDaniels back. I don't know. I think Josh would be perfect for Maye, to be honest. He can kind of run a similar offense to what Drake ran at NC, a little bit more shotgun and, be more pressure on him, but he'd have to learn the system. But I think Maye's smart enough to handle that. But none of that can happen unless they go out. My last thing is, unless they go out and they build an offensive line. I think as you look back in history, the main problem and the elephant in the room with the Patriots, they don't have a great offensive line. It's not a surprise. And they'll never be good until they actually fully invest into a line. And I think what they need to do next year is use most of their draft capital to go after offensive line. I know that doesn't sound fun or entertaining to people, but you can't do anything on offense unless you have solid tackles and solid guards and a good center. I don't see David Andrews coming back anytime soon. And in my honest opinion, I think David Andrews is probably going to hang it up after this year. Yeah. I've been watching his podcast, and I don't know if he's going to come back. So I think they need to go after a center, they need to go get guards, and they need to get tackles.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think that Andrews sounded like he wanted to at least give it a try.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to fix the offensive line. There's no secret, and I think Dan, to me, that's why I don't really focus as much on the coaching, Mike, is
Thanks,
because I feel like they're lacking in the personnel area on offense almost across the board. They have some. I'm not telling you that every player can't play. They have some players, Douglas and Polk, look like they can make some plays for you. I like the idea that Bourne to be back, maybe to look a little bit better. They need an alpha. They need a big receiver, I don't mean size-wise. I just mean a big target that will occupy the other team's focus and be able to make plays because he's better, and they got to fix the offensive line, obviously.
Outside speed to me is just that's what they're crying for. And, you add that element, I think it maybe makes some of those other guys better. But I agree with his take on Andrews, though, based on what he said. I mean, it sounds dicey if he's going to be able to come back.
I don't think it's any – I think how did he put it? Doing it this way gives me the best chance.
Yeah, the best chance.
To be able to continue my career. But I think that's his, desire, is to come back for another year.
And then they just signed to the Hainsworth. Sincere Hainsworth.
Just going to say, it was a funny name.
It's a great name, Sincere. Excuse me, jeez, made me cough. But not related to Albert Hainsworth, I'm guessing. But, they have the guy on the practice squad as well. So, they've got a couple centers. It seems like it's on their mind. That's a really important position, too. And, made me think, too, with talking about going back to Josh. that's a huge jump. Josh wants to put it all on the quarterback. He wants the quarterback to do everything. I'm just saying from a schematic standpoint, that's a heavy lift. But by the same token, there's a lot more on the center in this offense. So that's a very important position, too. So they need to figure that out long term. I think in a perfect world, I don't know if Caden Wallace can come back, but Caden Wallace, Onwenu, and one of these guys, whether it's City So, Layden Robinson, even Cole Strange, if one of those guys can be an okay left guard, maybe it's not we have to dedicate 5 draft picks to, because you got needs on defense too. You're going to have needs on that side of the ball. I hate to tell everybody, but you're going to have to figure out the edge.
Corner.
Those are the the sides of the defense. And throw in Peppers. We don't know what his future could be. He might be done. We might have to have another starting safety depending on how you feel about Marte Mapu as well. So there's a lot of questions, but hopefully over these last 12 games we can get at least a couple guys to step up and say, look, I feel really good about, and this is probably the most unlikely one, Caden Wallace at right tackle. I don't even know if he's going to be back, but just taking a couple things off the plate of we have to check this box and this box and this box. Feel good about a couple things. You mentioned Polk and Pop. I like those guys. I don't think alone they're going to be able to do it. They're not enough for sure. Mm-hmm. But like I said at the top, once you get going, maybe they look a little bit better with as the matchups.
If you had a guy, if you could add, a free agent addition, one of the top flight guys, like they tried with Ayuk, I think those other guys would look a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's what you're hoping for.
Drawing some attention away from them. And
if it's T. Higgins or someone I know, Matt, our host for pre and post game, he doesn't like T. Higgins as much as I do, but I kind of get the impression from listening to Matt a little bit the last few years, I don't really like a whole lot. No one's really any good, So I just feel like they're going to have to figure out somebody that they think is worthy of that and add him to the list, because it can't be these are the best guys you have. That's not good enough.
Yeah, maybe it's
not fair to them. It's not fair to Mario Douglas that, sort of a smaller slot receiver is the best you have right now.
Yeah.
Like, you need more than that.
Yeah, and I'd look at Jaheim Bell too. I mean, I think Austin Hooper has been okay.
Hooper!
But, a little more athleticism. I mean, you always, Paul, bring up David Njoku from Cleveland and how successful he was in this offense. To really have, no disrespect to Hunter Henry. I mean, I think he's a reliable, steady kind of a guy. But I don't think he's really like a game changer, real problem in the middle of the field. And I'm intrigued by Jaheim Bell. We didn't see a lot of him this summer, but I did see him run pretty well. And that's like one thing that I feel, if you've really got a tight end that can threaten the seam a little bit more. I think, Hunter Henry, great. Find the soft spot in the zone, first down.
Right.
Not a run after threat or run after catch threat though.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have these guys back.
That's another one put on the list.
Yeah.
Tight end.
Yeah.
There's holes. Like, even if Bell panned out to be something, you still need tight ends. I mean, how long do you think Henry and Hooper are going to be?
I mean, Hooper's just a 1-year deal too, so I mean, he's going to be gone. But maybe that opens up the opportunity for Bell next year. And
right.
I mean, it sure seems like this regime is very invested in playing their draft picks. Whereas, I don't know, Bill would always say, once you get here, everybody's here. It doesn't matter where you were drafted, how big your contract is. But I think that this regime maybe takes just a little bit more, it puts a little bit more on the guys that they draft and said, look, even if these guys maybe don't burst out of the gate on fire, we need to get them snaps, we need to get them involved, we need to know what they can do. Like a Marcellus Dial, for example, who didn't think blew up anything, was kind of marginally involved on defense this winter, or in the summer, but was able to get in there, made the team, and now is playing special teams. But is he really better than some of those other? I don't know how they go.
I would counter with that if it weren't so. We got other things on. Like how's Javon Baker and Jaheim Bell? Kind of on the inactive list.
Yeah,
every
right,
week.
right.
That's what Bill would do.
Yeah, no, that's true. Javon Baker's another one though. Like maybe it starts to click for him in the offseason, and he starts to come back and offers some juice. But first we've got to read, Paul, that I'm going to do right now for Bob's. I had to figure out this first part. The long Fall-a-Day weekend.
Oh.
I think that's what we're calling it now. Is almost here, and you can get ready for an epic Pats-Texans matchup by hosting a cozy watch party with Bob's Discount Furniture. Party-ready dining sets for your game day snacks, relaxing reclining sectionals for your cheering section, Bobopedic mattresses to dream about the next game. When you shop the Bob's Dare to Compare Challenge, you'll find everything you need, and all for way less than the competition. So stop in and see how much you can save when you dare to compare with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. And we're expecting Evan will be back from practice here, and I don't know if there's a new song somebody was teasing. Maybe that's a locker room one, but
yeah,
it's for you.
Oh, is it? Oh, really? Did Jill come through on song?
Jill came through.
Oh, it's a real song. All right, great. That's nice. I'm excited, but I won't be able to hear it today because I didn't go to the locker room. Right?
I'm not playing it today.
All right, good. Fair enough.
I'm not jealous at all.
You got no songs, Paul.
Paul, you want a song?
No, I don't.
You get a song.
I don't need a song.
You know what? Work, baby.
Get him an AI song.
I need a car. You want? Can you work out a car deal for me? Because
put in things about Diet Pepsi, car inspections.
No, I just need a car. I don't need any song.
Northeastern sports in general. Anything else? No. Those are your biggest hits.
This is where you say, didn't you go to BU?
No. I won't bring that up. I was there. It's beautiful, by the way. No baseball hall of fame.
So my son tells me.
We're going around the world to Greece. And Alex. Hey, Alex.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How's it going?
All right.
Good.
Okay.
I was going to do the Felger thing.
Go.
Fine. What's your question?
So I had a quick question. I just wanted to get your guys' take on something other than Drake Maye. I know the focus is on Maye. Obviously, Maye is going to go out there. He's going to play. He's either going to be good or, he's going to struggle in the beginning. My concern, honestly, the last few games has been the coaching a little bit. And I know it's a new regime, and I know this roster isn't up to par. But there's just a lot of decision-making in games, a lot of just coaching problems I've seen. And my question to you guys is, do you view the coaching separately from Drake Maye's performance? So regardless of how Maye plays, are you still going to be looking at this coaching staff and giving them a pass and going, it's year one? Or are you guys going to be saying if Maye plays well or bad, kind of irregardless, that they didn't perform well this year? So I just wanted to get your guys' take on that and how you view those two different entities, that sort of thing.
Thanks,
So
Alex.
thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a really good question. I mean, I think it relates into what, we're kind of saying, like, what's reasonable with Maye and how does it reflect on the coaching staff? And I would agree with the point. I think some of the stuff that situationally, play calling, those kind of things need to get better. And I think I'm willing to offer a little bit of, grace at the beginning stages for a whole new coaching staff, a lot of guys, a lot of different pieces from different areas, kind of all brought together. But I think it's an excellent point. There's more than just Maye throwing a couple deep balls.
Yeah,
Like
I would
stuff has to
say
get better.
I agree with you, Mike, and I would say that I don't think that we're giving the coaches a pass because they're in their first year. I think, when you sort of see some mistakes, you can say, well, yeah, those are mistakes. First time coach, he's going to learn from them. But when you see the same mistakes get repeated a couple of weeks later, like the sequence at the end of the half that we talked about, that's cause for concern. And I'm not taking it off the coaches because they don't have what I would consider, elite talent across the board. But I'm also not putting it all on, the players if I don't think they're always being put in the right positions to succeed. So it's one of those kind of feel things. Like, I don't think they were put in the best particular spot at the end of the first half against Seattle and against Miami. Like, I think that was a coaching issue. I don't blame the coaches for the fact that they can't figure out a way to score more points than they have, because I think that's a player issue more than the play calling.
Yeah.
That has been getting so much of the heat right now. So it's hard, but it is a good question that Alex brings up. I think everything should be evaluated. Like, you should be able to look at it and say, well, you know what? I thought they had a really good game plan this week, and it worked really well early in the game. And the other team sort of figured it out, adjusted, and they were able to shut you down.
Yeah.
You should be able to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point, you said this before of, you brought up pass regime would be able to adjust, or it's funny when you brought it up too, because it's so struck home for me. It was kind of like one of my credos when I was a blogger of just like, don't overreact to the first drive. Don't overreact to it. Good or bad, like, don't overreact, because even if they pick their way down the field and, have a nice drive, score, hopefully a touchdown, often the Patriots would, let them go 80 yards and then they'd stop them and force a field goal. But, what are those adjustments that they're able to make in game? And, now we're seeing something different. I'd also just point out stuff like 12 men on the field. And, sideline communication kind of stuff, which I don't think has been a huge problem like this early part. But, I mean, last year was a problem too.
Oh, it was a real problem. The last couple of years of Belichick, the substitutions on defense were a huge problem.
Yeah.
Hasn't really been a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think so far.
And that was
this
a
year.
special teams one.
Yeah, that was a special teams issue. But I don't think that's been as big a problem in the 5 games as it was like the last 2 years, as an example.
Yeah.
So, all those kinds of things we're trying to watch and evaluate. You got to learn from them, right?
You do. Quite a few emails here that I appreciate, which is like from L from Wisconsin, just saying, I've noticed that a lot of people who are afraid of breaking Maye are the same people who thought Mac was going to be great, which is say they aren't ball knowers. Let's go. Let the Drake Maye, era begin. But there are a lot of emails that I think echoing what we talked of, like, people are just afraid he's going to get hurt. Like, they're afraid to play him against the defense that you think has an overwhelming amount of pass rush that they're not going to be able to stop.
But I would just say to those people, like, I'm always concerned that players are going to get hurt. But, like, it's not the end of the world if a guy gets hurt.
Yeah.
It's just not. Like, if you have Super Bowl aspirations and your quarterback gets hurt, that's way different. But I just don't think that necessarily ends the Drake Maye era if he plays, even if he got hurt Sunday.
Oh, God.
Like, that would suck because we don't get a chance to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that ends the career of Drake Maye. Like, he can rehab and come back next year and be the starter, and we'll figure it out. But, like, you can just not play him and not get any development too. What's the right. That to me is the difference. Like, what? So if he plays and gets hurt and he doesn't play the rest of the way, what's the difference if he doesn't play the rest of the way? Like, other than, easy for me to say, other than the pain that Drake Maye is suffering from, or whatever the injury happens to be. Like I said, I put it out there. Can someone give me an example of a career-ending injury on a quarterback who played too soon?
Yeah. David from Madrid echoes that a little bit. The take and scare getting hurt versus a good team doesn't make sense. He can equally get hurt against a bad defense. Last Sunday, the Dolphins didn't have any top pass rushers, and Leverett somehow gave up 10 pressures. You just have to play the kid and roll the dice. Even the best O-lines give up hits every week. I mean, I've said it before. I point to 08 where Brady, first quarter of the game,
Bernard Pollard
dives into his knee, and it's all over for that year. So it can happen even to those kind of teams too. I agree though, and I just hope he can do enough to kind of stem the tide, because been through a lot. We've been through a lot the last couple of years. We changed everything this offseason, and you had some good energy going through camp, and that's more the energy of the unknown, because you just haven't really seen good or bad yet. But then it's like injuries and off the field stuff, and you've lost all the captains, and and Jacoby just can't really seem to get anything going, and it's been a really trying start on a number of different levels.
A lot of unforeseen things. Like Gerard keeps saying we kind of knew that we were going to have some bumps along the way, but I don't think anybody could have foreseen the amount of adversity. And I'm not talking about injuries. Everybody has injuries, but it's like the types of
blood clots.
Losing your arguably your best player to blood clots before training camp really even starts. Like that's different than, we lost Tua to a concussion.
Yeah. Right.
Devastating for Miami. I'm not making light of it.
But
devastating injury.
Kind of what happened.
But like he was on the field and he got hit and he's had some history and he got concussed. And it's like you said, like it's all your captains. Like I don't know. I think most teams probably feel like the leadership of your team is pretty important. And to lose Duggar and Peppers and for different reasons, and then Andrews and all the Bentley, all those key guys. That's like I understand teams have as many and more injuries, but those are really specific injuries that really hurt right down the middle, like what supposed to be like the strength of your team.
Yeah.
Center, inside linebacker, safeties.
Right in the middle.
Gone.
And a lot of coaches I think will tell you build from the middle out.
Right.
But we're excited here on PP and the Deuce to be joined by Evan Lazar.
Evan has returned from practice. Evan has returned from practice. Yeah, Evan has returned from practice. What was the mood? Who wasn't there? What did he see?
All right, Evan's back in practice. I'll be playing the part of Fred Kirsch here, asking.
Evan smells like outside.
Oh yeah, you smell like the fall
is that
leaves.
a good thing or a bad
That's like a fall. Like you no.
Like
you
a
don't
Yankee
smell.
candle.
You smell like you just came in from outdoors.
Oh, oh, like beach. I smell like beach.
No.
Fall. Trees,
Fall.
leaves. Well, what were you doing out there, Evan? Were you frolicking in the leaves during practice? Or?
I was rolling around in the leaves like I was 8 years old. No. This is weird. This is I don't even know what to do.
I know.
With
I'm sorry. I got to
right
ask you weird questions. So, Evan, what did you see out there?
Some good news, some bad news for the Patriots at practice. I'll start with the bad.
Yes.
No Kyle Duggar still. He's still.
I thought that was going to be the good news.
He's still not out there, and no Ramondre Stevenson, who left Sunday's game with a helmet to the calf, like a
shin.
I said calf.
Yeah.
In post game,
Okay.
and so he's not out there today for the Patriots at practice. The good news is that the offensive line seems like it made it through healthy, so maybe we'll get some continuity up front on the offensive line. And the really good news is that Drake Maye is taking all the first team reps.
I'm surprised that he saw any of the other 52
and,
guys.
And that was a really good news. But some things that maybe I'll share off the air that I don't know if.
Okay.
I'm right now I'm trying to.
The poor listeners. Yeah, we're walking in there.
Yeah, but some interesting things happened.
Well, what would you say was the mood?
It's a little early for that.
Sorry, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Pads.
Are they as excited as I am?
Pads on
thumping.
Pads on Wednesday seems to be the theme under Mayo. It seems like that's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future. Maybe if they start winning some games, maybe he gives them a reprieve. But right now, pads on Wednesday is an automatic. It's so far, and the mood was, I mean, this media contingent. I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but this was like Brady Day level
No, we didn't talk
of
about
people. There
Good-
was a lot
good
of
crowd today.
A lot of people. Good crowd. Good crowd out at practice. Nice weather. So it was an interesting day.
So there was no grousing?
No, there was no grousing at all. No, there's no grousing at all. This was all
Good grousing
all
placement.
Everybody's happy.
positive.
We were looking for all the big J journalists who come down like on these days and ask the hard questions, but there weren't any of those. It was just
They also have the voice.
Yeah. Hi, Gerard. Question in the back.
What would you say to the fans that
How?
demand that Jacoby Brissett remains the starter?
That's good, Paul. You've
Are
been
there
around the
any of
block
those?
a few times. Evan, I was saving this email for when you got in. So
Oh.
this is from Dave in Hingham. He said, over the past, this is the first time, long-time listener, first-time emailer. He said, over the past few years, Fred has made a point of calling out how balanced and fair you collectively are in your approach to covering the team. I agree. This recent Evans situation and how you've all responded, the ups and downs is a cost of doing business. You all have the best intentions. There's no better way to honor Evan and show my support than buying you all lunch so you can take a break from when Paul's food gets there.
Whoa.
Wow.
So there you go.
I might be
you,
back.
Dave.
That's unnecessary.
Thank you, Dave.
Matt, write that down.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's. That'll be if it's
Yeah.
for Evan, it'll be in order of
Yes.
Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, well, yes, I appreciate that.
Little turkey sandwich.
So Evan, you were there. Just what did you think of the press conference today with Mayo and Drake?
Yeah.
And Dietrich Wise, for that matter.
Don't forget about Dietrich. I would say the biggest thing that I keep hearing about this was that knee-jerk reaction, like this wasn't the plan. They're only doing this because they're 1-4 and there's some bad publicity around the team, and they're just trying to, get some juices, some marketing juices out of it. And I got to be honest, I don't really see it that way, and I don't think that's what Gerard Mayo said either. And I think a lot of people, to me, are kind of speaking out of both sides of their mouths because the games go on, and then on Mondays, all I hear on Paul's shows for 8 straight hours is how awful the team is and how Gerard doesn't know what he's doing, and they have no offense, and the AVP stinks, and the passing offense stinks, and now we're going to put Drake Maye in there to try to make all of that better. And now that's the wrong move too. So it's like the guy can't win. Like if he doesn't play Drake Maye, then he gets killed every week because they're not playing well on Sundays and they're losing games and they're not scoring any points. If he does play Drake Maye, well, you can't put him into this situation. This is what are they doing?
I had that rant in the first 10 minutes. I was like, what are they waiting for? What are they doing? They can't move. They can't move the ball. They have no offense. Just put Maye in there. Drake Maye is the starting quarterback. What happened to the plan? What are we like? Why are we rushing it? Why against Houston? He's going to get hurt. I don't know how they could win. I really don't know how they could win this one. There's no perfect time to make this move.
Right. And the other thing you just mentioned, Houston. I'm hearing so much about how terrible of a matchup this is against Houston. If Drake Maye gets broken because of one game, his very first start in his NFL career, and he's already a lost cause because he saw a good pass rush in his first
This guy
game.
had a great point about how he thinks Houston could be a really good game to get under his belt. I'll let Mike.
I was just saying, this is a team that is going to probably be a contender in the AFC for
Yeah.
a while. If you're serious about winning in the playoffs, getting to the Super Bowl, this is a team you're going to have to probably be beat at some
And
point.
wouldn't that be beneficial? If
Get a look at
this is the
D'Amico
guy that
Ryans
you want to be your quarterback for the next 10 years. The Houston Texans are more than likely going to be a player in the AFC for, I don't know, let's just say
Absolutely.
5 years.
Yeah.
Right? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, as Bob Newmeyer used to say?
Well, it's just so we all are in agreement that last week against Miami would have been fine for him to play his first
Sure.
game.
I had no problem
Which
with that.
means that he was going to play Houston this week, right? And
He'd be
now-
ready then. He'd be
and-
ready.
And then we're all
But it would have been his second game under his belt.
right. And then we all are in agreement that next week against Jacksonville would be okay too, because it's in London and they're not a good defense and this, that, and the other thing. So what you're really whittling it down to is that one game against the Texans is going to derail his entire NFL career. And if that's the case, then he's not the guy. Like if he gets broken from one game, then then you didn't draft the guy.
We're all in agreement.
Yeah.
And I
Which
just
kind of sucks because I
yeah.
like arguing with you guys.
It's just frustrating
Yeah.
because
can't win.
You can't win. And I thought what he said today about it's a results-based business. Basically, he said we're in a winning league, and right now we're 1-4, and the guys in the locker room want to win. And that was basically the crux of what I was trying to say last week before I lost my mind. And that's exactly what I was getting at, was that at some point the eye in the sky don't lie. Like whether it's on the practice field or it's in the games on Sundays, you can't go in there with a straight face and then continue to tell people that that Jacoby Brissett gives you the best chance to win, when everybody behind the scenes knows what's happening at practice and knows what's happening in the games. At some point, like Gerard Mayo said, Drake Maye gives us the best chance to win, and that point is now.
What was going on in the locker room? I didn't get in there. Who got interviewed?
Yeah, there was a lot of interviews, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, as you could imagine, and it was. I thought it was the same. I'm trying not to be too careful about my opinions on locker rooms right now, but I thought it was all positive messaging coming out of the locker room in respect to both quarterbacks. If they had stuck with Brissett, it seems like the guys would have been behind that.
Yeah.
But they're also excited about what's to come.
Was Jacoby around at all?
He was.
Did he speak?
No.
No.
He did not. But one of the things I think that really stands really classy guy, and one of the things that stands out to me about him is that it seems as though, just being out of practice briefly, like his role as mentor, he has not stopped fulfilling that role.
Yeah.
Certainly Drake said that.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a sense of relief a little bit for Jacoby Brissett of just like getting your doors beaten in for 5 straight weeks and being like, oh God, thank God I can just have a week to gather myself,
I think he wants to play.
Yeah, probably. That's how the NFLers are. Question here from Cole on Cape Cod. Is this not what we expected the season to be? The team is super young, a whole new staff, tons of adversity. Everyone knew this season from the beginning was not going to be a deep playoff run, even playoff team. I think we need to spin the light here and see it in the aspect of this team is super young. They're gaining invaluable experience and setting a foundation for the future. All of our captains are down. Okay, cool. So who steps up? There's so much opportunity for the young guys and staff that we have to learn and set a foundation for the future. Face the adversity now and build a team for the future. I mean, I kind of generally agree, but it's been a lot. It's been like more than I even expected of
I couldn't argue with any of the facts that he just put forth. I just think you're glossing over. I think we all kind of expected it to not be good. Did you expect them not to be able to score at all?
Yeah.
And I get it. They got younger. Because they were one of the oldest teams in the league. Not every year of the last 5 years, but among the last 5 years, and they overturned some of that, and they got a little bit younger. They kept the entire draft class, but how many of those guys are really playing important roles?
Yeah.
We talked about some of those guys toward the bottom. Polk
and Maye now.
And now Maye's in there.
Wallace and Robinson.
And Robinson's been a starter for you. Wallace is hurt. He's not playing. Baker is inactive every week. Bell's inactive most weeks. Dial's a special teamer. So, you're not getting a tremendous amount out of those young guys. The rookies, I should say, not the young. Like Mapu came in, second-year guy. He's a young guy. Played the whole game the other day. So
Pettis played a little bit too. I mean, he got some opportunities. That's just what I would hope, is that some of these guys take advantage of those. And like to the emailer's point, take advantage, blossom, and all of a sudden, you weren't expecting Del Pettis to maybe be that third safety, but maybe there's something there. I don't know. I'm just using him as.
Well, I feel like that email is accurate now. Now that Drake Maye is playing, I'm still not expecting them to all of a sudden go on a 10-game winning streak and make the playoffs. So now we can sort of grade it out as, is there progress? Is there upward trajectory to the offense and to his play and all that kind of stuff, and not necessarily harp so much on wins and losses. I think what was going on in the first 5 games is just that it was like a road to nowhere. They weren't playing Drake. They weren't scoring on offense. They weren't competitive in a lot of these games.
If it's the
recently.
same exact game Sunday, you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Even if they lose 15-10, you'd feel better about it.
Oh yeah, as long as Drake doesn't get hurt.
Right. As long as he played and he got hurt, because I love the road to nowhere comment. Like, if it's a road to nowhere, at least you're getting your quarterback his feet wet. Like, if we're not going to move the ball, then why not play the rookie quarterback? And
it's like every single rep has value. Like every single play has some kind of value to him of experience, or just playing against these defenses, playing in different locations. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, is just the rookies.
I mean, there's just so much talk about like the why now and what's the point, and such a terrible situation. They have 119 passing yards a game. through 5 weeks. 119. Like that's
You know where that ranks, Mike?
Probably close to the bottom. I'm guessing.
32.
Oh,
that's not NFL offense.
Yeah.
So when you look at some of these other players that are around the quarterback, you can't go through an entire season like that.
That's fair.
You really just can't.
Chris in New Hampshire says, the sicko in me wants the Jets to hire Bill. The chaos that would erupt would be wildly entertaining. The Bill Simps versus the Bill haters would be so much. Football is about entertainment. Let us enjoy ourselves. Chaos is fun. I kind of agree. I don't think there's
Mike,
any
who are the
chance in
Bill
world.
Simps?
The Billuminati.
The Billuminati.
That's my new one. The Billuminati. Yeah, they're God bless them though. I mean, that's it's a new faction they just formed in this past year. You didn't really hear much from those guys. I mean, I guess you did. They were more though the anti-media.
Well, it was
crew.
it was the defend the wall guys
defend the
before,
wall,
but now it's
anti-media against them saying that they didn't like Bill's press conferences, and now it's everything was better last year, which I take issue with.
Umbrage.
Did you hear this one from Spee in Fresno? Obviously psyched for the Drake. A lot is on the kid's shoulders. Ideally, Mayo et al. Would have succeeded better in establishing a foundation for success, but they haven't. Are you concerned that Mayo's regime hasn't been very successful so far? Or maybe to ask it differently, given what you've seen thus far, how many games will you give Mayo to right the ship before you really doubt his coaching ability?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of unfair. Like, we're just getting started here. Now, I mentioned about a half hour ago about kind of the in-game mistakes that we've seen. I don't want to see those continue to get repeated. That would cause me that would cause me some concern. That would sort of rattle my confidence a little bit. But it's 5 games.
Yeah.
And now you're just sort of getting to what you want to see, right? With the new quarterback. Let's kind of see how it unfolds before we worry about putting a ticking clock on it.
I also just look at now. To me, now it really begins for Alex Van Pelt. Like what you have the quarterback now that you wanted in there, who has all the physical talent in the world, and not even just from a fundamentals standpoint, like footwork and all that kind of stuff. Like, show me something. Like you get schematically, show me something. Show me what you got. What is it that you envisioned when you drafted Drake Maye in the end of April? You can't tell me that him and Ben McAdoo haven't been thinking about what are we going to call, how are we going to run this offense? Like, what's the design of the offense going to be?
Right.
Like, now we get to really see what is it that they had this vision with Drake, and can Van Pelt live up to it? Like, does he have the chops to live up to it?
Is there one thing you would say, just off the top of your head, that you think Alex Van Pelt should do maybe a little differently with Drake Maye now in there?
Pistol. Yeah, I really feel strongly that they need to operate, instead of operating from true under center in the run game, is putting him in the pistol like he was at North Carolina, and you see that in different places in the NFL now too, because that to me is a compromise. Like, he might not be 100% comfortable yet with running under center. We saw some ups and downs with it in the preseason and in training camp. So let's compromise, and we can still run a lot of the same under center plays that we would run traditionally. Let's put him in the pistol like Miami does, like Tennessee is doing with Will Levis, like Atlanta does. Like, there's so many teams that do this across the league now. And if they come out on Sunday and all their under center plays are now out of the pistol, I'd give him all sorts of flowers for that. Like, that's innovative.
And you might disagree with this, but the whole Stevenson thing, if that happens, that might be a blessing in disguise if he's maybe a little banged up, because I think Gibson's better suited for that, to run out of that than Stevenson.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not a huge difference, but
yeah,
I like Ramondre running, that's the under center runs. I like him better moving forward, whereas I think Gibson's probably a little bit maybe quicker and can operate with that. That's interesting to me. Like, if they change the way they run the ball for Drake Maye, you don't necessarily, that wouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind. So that's a different look.
I mean, I know we don't have much time left, but just the mechanics of the pistol is basically the same as running it from under center, except obviously the quarterback's catching the snap instead of being under center. You can still add gaps onto the line of scrimmage because the back is behind the quarterback, and the quarterback can also still turn his back to the defense and play action fake out of it. and you can run quarterback option out of it too. So there's just all sorts of different things that you can do out of the pistol that don't exist in an under center. But he's a traditional under center guy. So is he willing to pivot out of that?
All right, football season is here, and Sullivan Tire and Auto Service kick things off in a big way with our exclusive Go Pats tire sale. Now through October 31st, score big with incredible savings on Bridgestone tires. Save $100 instantly with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Bridgestone, the official tire of the New England Patriots. See sullivantire.com for complete details. Go Patriots. Wanted also just to give Claire a shout out. She did her 100th episode of a Claire Perspective podcast. So 100 episodes.
Were you on that?
I think I was on 85 of the 100. No,
no,
I wasn't 100. No, I wasn't 100. I don't know. She got probably a big one.
I'm on the schedule.
You're on the schedule.
I believe I'm on 101.
All right. Well, on to 200.
I believe I'm on 101 next
Congrats,
week.
Claire.
I'm a little upset that I wasn't asked to be on 100.
Keep up the great work. And yeah, the playbook's coming up at 2:30. Evan will
Congrats,
be back tomorrow.
Claire, seriously.
And of course, Evan and Alex will be back for a big Catch 22 episode tomorrow. So Drake May week is here, and I'll be excited tomorrow. We got picks. Gotta hurry.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.